PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Fighting for this spot.
First kill here. Rain DX trying to get into it. Very low health there for Terry. Does manage to get the kill eventually. Well, what is certainly happening is Rosq under pressure. Comes down. There's no way. Surely he's not going to be able to get this done. Oh, he turns around. He eliminates Rosq. Going off as well. But there's another fight happening. There's a lot of rotations going to have to happen. And Avangar are going to have to start to move around a little bit here.
Get in the X. B13, but there's a Molotov again.
Whitey is really in a rough spot. They run out into him. He tries to hold strong, but it's not going to work out. Oh.
They have 4 members, but one was separated from that compound, and you get that.
Yeah, this is the problem. Every single game so far that looks good. Why instead that's being driven by Botham has kind of been the reason why this is starting to 2 knocks. They're looking to finish off the last one. It's McCall to see if he can deal the damage, but it's not going to get it done.
You think they're going from this, but Whitey from FromHell here, he's
free with Rosq. They're under fire, and B13 4 kills the spot. 2 players left alive, but they're looking to rack up a 1. Palmer's going to be knocked down on the floor. Very back and forth. This has gone into a crazy one. 5 off the first 2 shots, couldn't make it connect, and this is where it becomes a problem. Stark low on health. He's not going to be able to med himself up here, and this is where Rosq, they smell the blood, they go on the hunt, they go in for the kills, and they get the win. Not, but his teammates pushing forward.
Here is like an even bigger gift.
FromHell, though, this is not the start they would have wanted. Rob D. Timing's going to come into it. Spraying out, lots of damage being done. Rest, Solke, he starts off strong. Looks struggling early on here in day 2. Scoreboard, but they are within this to fight it out as White jumps into the house. He instantly gets himself a knock. Then he's sprayed down.
I can't really make any predictions as how this is going to go.
Take damage from it as well. Look at how he's playing it, trying to hang on right into the end. Rest take.
All players, they go alone all the time and they get caught.
Oh no, Kozak. Progos looking to get it done, pulls out his second weapon. Oh my god! Terry says Avangar have found you, and B13 are looking for Frost. He goes down and it's well aware of what's going on, starts the spray down. Ooh, look at that control!
Rosq under a lot of hurt here, trying to take out Avangar. Actually, Yasha pushes in the building at the same time, riding rotation for his homie. But now it's Nagi versus Strong. Headshot connects easily from Deuces when he has to run because of the zone.
Going on, unique push on out. He gets found, Kitsune's on the floor. It's all up to Yasha. The res isn't going to happen. He manages to get one onto White. Can he get the extra kill point? Tries to do it. They walk into the spray, but Yasha gets taken down. And there we
We're back with more PUBG Mobile action, guys. It's day 3 of week 3, and it has been action galore coming your way. We've reached the semi-final stages, and now it is the true crunch time. My name is James Banks. I am one of your commentators. As always, I'm joined by Matthias Larsson, the ex-pro, the wonderful knowledge man, the man who sometimes gets very disappointed by what some of these players decide to do, but that's where they can learn a thing or two from this man indeed. Now, Larsson, yesterday, we were a little bit disappointed by some teams who previously in the group stages showed us how good they could be. But hopefully, other teams now will step up and learn from some of these mistakes that have been had, right? We've come in now, the third day, these teams have plenty of information to review. Now it's the time for them to show that they are putting in that hard work.
Oh, yeah. I would say that saying a little bit disappointed is a very fast stretch, right?
I'm being nice.
Honestly, yeah, I know you're trying to be nice, but this is their last chance, right? They need to get sub 16. And yesterday, we saw CZ alone. 3 games in a row, they commit to a fight early game, get 16th position, again and again and again. And then we have White Paws that smash the group stages.
Yeah.
And what they're doing wrong is they're not playing as a team. It's as if they're not taking it serious. You did say that you talk to them, they're like just a group of friends playing. But that's how you start out in any game. Like, if you want to get into competitive play, you have to start out as a group of friends. And if you make it good, you might swap out a few players here and there to make your team. But you need to play as a team. And what we've seen for some of these guys, especially White Paws, is they just play like one by one by one by one. And I would say that's why they've been playing as bad as they have this far in the tournament.
And that's never the way to go. Now, as we said, we're on day 3. It's going to be Group B going up against Group C. So you can see how it's worked out. We started with A and B, then it's gone to A and C. Now it's B and C. So A had their 2 days playing back-to-back, and now C are having their days of playing back-to-back. And honestly, for the Group B teams, especially some of them who are right at the top, they were loving what they saw yesterday because it was like, all we have to do is have one good game, and we're right back up where we were.
Yeah, I mean, the teams that did really, really good in Group B was Welcome to the Lobby and DM99.
Yeah.
They're right on top of it still. A team that is at the bottom is Romania right now, for example, and Kuma 2 mid. From Group B, they need to step it up today. We've seen good stuff from them. They just need to be more consistent. They need to have a plan going into this.
Yeah.
You can't just go in like a public game and say, okay, we're just going to stay near the edge of the zone and then see what happens, right?
Yeah, you've got to have a game plan, and that's what we're talking about, is not just a game plan as in like, oh, we're going here and this is our objective to win or place highly or maybe be a little bit more passive, maybe going for fights. It is playing the smart decision based on what you're delivered, because in every single game, it's a very different affair. Now, you're seeing a lot of these teams here who have had the 4 matches play. Obviously, that's going to turn around today. A lot of these teams are from Group B, which gets their second time around this time. So, yes, BuzzKillBros, it's very scary for them. They're currently, out of the teams that have played 8 matches, in the very last spot. And all it will take is just a few kills from some of these other teams for them to quickly leapfrog over them.
Oh, yeah. What's even more scary if you go down to the next page, we do have some teams that have also played 8 games, I believe, and they're looking worse for worse. And what you have to understand, they only have 8 more games to play in total before it's over. And messing up the first 8 games, I would say, like, being in 12 is not necessarily messing it up. But getting what? They have 58 points in total. 58 divided by 8, that's like 6-7 points per game, which is essentially nothing if you think about averaging. And Avangar here, FromHell, Team Unique, they're looking good, but they're nowhere near where Welcome to the Lobby is. And to some extent, DM99, DM99 is probably going to end up around the same spot. But Welcome to the Lobby, 120-ish points after just 4 games. Which is actually crazy.
It's really impressive, and it just means, like we were saying, it'll take 1 or 2 games here today if they continue their consistent play style of looking strong, looking good, and they will be right back up in that #1 spot, potentially before we've even reached 8 games. Now, Avangar, the team that's in #1 at the moment, we spoke about these guys so heavily, not just because they do come from an organization that we all know very well from across multiple esports titles, but also because they had something to prove. You're one of the teams that are lucky and fortunate enough to be picked up by an organization, which means you have to deliver. And in the group stages, at one point we were scared they weren't going to qualify.
Yep. Also, one thing I've noticed, just by PUBG in general, we saw that Avangar here, I believe, they had 160 points after the first 8 games. But since they're in first place, usually 160 points is the threshold for teams that can qualify.
Yeah.
So even though we play 8 more matches, just to qualify and be in the top 16, you usually have to have at least 160 points. It's something fun that you can see at the halfway margin, but that might be the threshold that all of these teams have to get to qualify. And that's kind of scary because we saw some of these teams, they only had 60 points after 8 games. So they need to get double that in the next 8 games, right?
And that's what it's all about, getting those points that you probably should have gotten or maybe just about missed out on last time around. And I really want to see some of these teams adopt a different approach, because you must realize by now, if you're having bad game after bad game, that it wasn't working. So it is time for a change. And honestly, I'm not saying that we know everything, but we have a good overview. We get to see all these teams. We've commentated them now for 3 weeks. But also you're not just an ex-pro, but you're also giving them valuable feedback, which is like a job that a coach could potentially do, right? So if any of them are sat there watching the VODs back, guys, pay attention. Bring your A game. Bring us some good fun and change things around. And the good fun is going to start with Vikendi of all games, because we get some interesting circles come out of here ever so often, Larson.
Oh yeah, and just the playstyle on Vikendi is very unique to any other map. I keep going over this every time we get on Vikendi. When you get to these late game circles, you cannot just play in the open play the terrain like you ever so often can on Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok. Here, compounds is typically the name of the game.
Yeah.
If you want to make sure you can stay alive, you need to play a compound until the very late stages, save all your utility, try and keep your vehicles alive. And one thing that we see a lot on Vikendi is this water, right? Earlier stages of the game, there's tons of water and limiting how much base that people can play on. And this is going to be interesting. I don't think we've seen any circles around the cement factory. Could you imagine having an endgame circle inside the factory just because of how the layout is? There's so many towers and treadmills, or even what I call it, that you can go around, so the elevation is probably going to be a key point here. I mean, that's wishful thinking, right?
Oh yes, and one thing that is very interesting off the back of this, and we see this a lot more in PUBG Mobile, right, is that depending on where the plane goes, a lot of teams will just abandon their usual drop spot. We had teams down in Milnar, we had teams up in Abbey, we had teams in Dino Park before, and all of them have abandoned that side of the map because of how far towards the east this circle has gone.
Yep, it always happens, right? If you have to go across the map, then you think, okay, I watch the bots. I know that nobody drops here typically, and then maybe you can take that spot. Or some teams are even so lazy they don't even watch the bots and say, okay, we can just drop here. There's probably no one. But no, it's extremely important that you do watch the bots, make sure that you know where everyone lands, what their tendencies is, and then you can secure yourself like a new landing spot, so you can have different ones depending on the airplane, and that can actually just like smoothen out your early game so much.
Well, a team that will want to smooth out their early game is Rosq. They had so many nice games that we saw from them over and over again yesterday. And one thing that I certainly want to see is them continue this, because they were the team acting as a unit, acting as a team out here, and managing to get the job done. And oh, we missed this one where we had the map screen up, a brilliant replay coming in. Harb long range gets the knock onto Anar, and he gets finished off as well. So instantly, Rest have lost a player on a little fight we didn't get to see. Awesome work from the Observer team straight off the bat with that. I'm happy we get to see that, because we just saw Anasheet dead, and I thought maybe he died, like just dropped out the game or something like that.
Oh yeah, and one thing, I have the leaderboards open right now. So both Rosq and West, they played 4 games each, right? Yeah. And right now, Rosq is only 7 points ahead of Rest. So, like, solidifying their spot and taking away, like, a close contender could be pretty big for Rosq here. Like, you could say it's, like, a little bit personal because they're so close on the leaderboards that they want to finish them out here. And already taking 2 kills away this early on is going to hurt Rest a lot. Incredibly impressive there. No chance for Lovazin to get himself rezzed up there. Rosq on point, challenging Rest. Solke, a guy who is an individual player, has had some incredible individual performances, but now he's up against a team of 4 with Larion to help him out. But are they even going to be able to battle back against this? 2 versus 4, and realistically, you just want to get the hell out of there now. You don't want to take this fight. Oh yeah. It's too hard. Definitely. And from what I could see, it didn't even look like he had a Westery helmet. At least it wasn't highlighted in the menu down in the bottom. Bemyloot, they're chilling. Romania, I was looking at them. They've had a terrific start. They're all the way at the bottom right now. So they need to have some really, really good games today if they even want to dream of going through. All right, they haven't played 8 matches yet, but in the first 4 matches, they only managed to get 16 points. That is very bad. Like very bad. It's just the true word when it comes to that, and it's one thing they're going to have to try and turn around. We've got Welcome to the Lobby just making their bypass here.
going across the bridge. They've got the vehicles to play with, but also they're the team that are going to looking to have, once again, a consistent top 6 performance, because they've never been outside of that thus far.
Oh, no.
They had 2 wins on the opening day for them as well.
Yep, that's how you like to see it. And I'm pretty happy with seeing a lot of this consistent teams. That means we can put a lot of pressure on them. We want to be harsh. We want to see them doing good. And if they do some mistakes, I get to be like, hey, what are you guys doing?
That's what we love to see. To be fair, even I'm learning a lot just from being able to work with you and understand some of these things, because the points you are making are on point in terms of this is what you should and shouldn't do. This is how it should play it out. We're not saying it for our own benefit. We're not saying it to be like, these guys are terrible. We're saying it because fundamentally they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, I do hope that all these team watch the VODs, and maybe some of them can take some of the things that I get to them and put them into their gameplay, right?
Yes.
Because the amount of times, especially on Vikendi, we'll probably see it throughout this game, people, when they play compounds, they're just sitting inside buildings, they're not being proactive, and then when people drive up to their compound, they get caught off guard. They're not ready to defend their compounds, and I hate seeing it. People need to be ready. They need to be playing. They can't just sit in a corner and wait for people to come to them.
Now we saw DM drive by just going across from where Ultra was. They are a team that when they played, how aggressive were they? Out of nowhere, they just started taking fights all over the shop. Will they be the same, though, when it comes to playing this different group? Is that how it's going to work out for them? Because they can quickly decide that maybe some of these other teams are a better challenge for us and we need to be a little bit more cautious. Because BML are under fire at the moment. A few shots going off. Twice is not in the action, but his teammates certainly are. And you can see on Billy TB, he's lost a bit of health already. And they're all going to reposition, and I like this. They're gaining a little bit of momentum here and getting together. They're saying, all right, if we are going to engage in this, we have to play as a unit. Do not be split apart.
You did call out that DM99, they're an aggressive team, but I would call them it's calculated aggression, right?
Yeah.
They're not just fighting to take fights. They have had this discussion saying, all right, we know exactly when to fight, when to disengage. They don't overcommit early on, and they're very, very systematic when they do it, right? They play as a team, as you mentioned. They try not to get caught off guard, and they don't take all these early fights that we see some of the other teams do that are very aggressive, quote unquote. But knowing exactly when to fight is something that you need to learn if you want to be a top team, such as DM have showed us thus far.
DM already firing off, and that's on to Rosq. Oh, it's Romanians
Romania.
this time, not the Rosq team. So the Romanians themselves, there is a bit of a difference, Romanians and Rosq, both teams within this lobby at the moment, under pressure. Now, welcome to the lobby being found here. Jonathan's been taken out of it. A bit of a back and forth between them and BML. Now, this is 2 teams who are up at the top contentions for at least for points here, having a battle early on. The Molotov goes down the floor from welcome to the lobby. Good use of utility, very close to where that res is happening, but it doesn't quite connect. At least for now, it's going to benefit the fight for BML because they're being able to res up their teammate.
Really unfortunate for welcome to the lobby here. I assume they thought the compound was a little bit clear. Bemyloot, they must just have hidden really well. And now, welcome to the lobby loses 1 member early. And we'll have to see, do they decide to engage, or they're like, yeah, we probably don't need to commit to this fight yet. We're still only in Circle 1. Committing to this compound doesn't necessarily bring us the most points out of this game. And you can see them, right? Even though they lost a member, they're not going to jump the gun and say, all right, we want revenge right now.
They understand that they can make a calculated decision on when to attack, and that's exactly what we'll have to see as we'll watch and understand exactly what these teams want to do and how it will play out. But BML, at least for now, 1 kill up, all team members alive, and they've got a compound to sit within, at least for now, pretty comfortably.
Yeah. They're doing well. BML, they've been kind of like at the middle of the board here. So they need to get a bit more consistency in if they want to like secure their spot. I mean, they haven't done terrible. They're like in 12th position now, and they got 4 more games to catch up to the other group. But even then, they were doing pretty good, right? I don't know if you remember BML.
Well, before we continue about BML, TQ, a team that is taking the fight to ASE, and ASE getting 2 knocked players down. Bit of a run to be had here, at least for TQ if they want to continue this challenge. So opportunities here for the rest to go in, but Gochi, he's working his way around the side. He believes he can get this done. He's gone off towards the west, and he's going to see if he can make it happen while they are doing these revives. He's got very close range. Are they going to be aware? If he decides to jump up over there, he could do some serious damage. He does a little pop. He has a look. Will they be able to spray him down? He's got the high ground advantage on top of the hedge, and he's able to take down the first player. Looking for more. He's not stopping. His teammates are there as well, and TQ, they're delivering all the pain, all the kills, and that's an instant team going down for ASE.
So unfortunate for Ace there. They were trying to take a compound, get 2 knocked immediately, and then they just weren't able to recover. They got pinned behind the wall, and really clean execution there. But what I wanted to say about BML, I remember in the group stages, they had 2 wins they won, both with like 17 to 20 kills. They were popping off, but the games they weren't winning, they were very, very lackluster.
Yeah.
So they need to find a way to like not go out early, get a bit consistency, and still have those wins where they can pop up. That is basically what makes or breaks the top tier teams, right?
And that's it, because you can be a top tier team and not even have a win, but just be within the top 5, top 6 teams and comfortably be racking up a lot of points because you're still involved in a lot of those kill fights as well.
Yep, and that's why we can see teams like Welcome to the Lobby. All right, they lost 1 member early, but they don't commit to the fight. They know with real life, that's not the end of the world. They can probably still get a good position here. And that is what I'm trying to bring through to a lot of these teams, that we see commit to fight super early on when there's actually not a big, well, there's never a good reason for it, in my opinion.
Well, Sorka being a little bit patient on the trigger finger there, and I like that. I respect it. You can see OBS, but he knows there's no need to give away my position. I don't need to go aggressive right now. I'll just keep an eye on what they're doing, pass that information over to my team. But look at this circle as it pops. We've gone very close to where you're thinking it may go in the beginning. The cement factory could be the place.
I'm hoping it is. That would be a very, very interesting ending. I'm sure it would be very painful for the players to play, but I would have fun watching it.
As long as you're not in it, Larson, that's what matters the most. As welcome to the lobby. Once again, losing another player here, this time from Rosq. Not exactly sure where on the map that was, but that's going to be very rough for Welcome to the Lobby, a team who we were praising heavily going into this. Now, it is Vikendi. They may be just still trying to adjust to obviously the new players that they've got within this lobby are going up against them. But Rosq is a team that have fought some more. All they seem to want to do at the moment is frag out and get those placement points. And they're just so hard to deal with because they just run around as a unit. It's not like headless chickens like some teams where one player scouts forward, gets picked off, and they try to fight it back. Rosq just stick together as a platoon, as a true squad, doing some military-style pushes.
Oh, yeah, and they had a fantastic day yesterday, I would say. They didn't have, you know, 150-point performance, but they were almost in the top 10 after just 4 games. Actually, they were in the top 10. And I'd say they had improved a lot from the group stages, right? I feel like in the group stages, they were very hit and miss. They were, like, lacking a lot of teamwork. But here, after having a week's break, they actually showed up. And the way they're taking these fights, as you mentioned, they're always together. They're working as a unit. They're making sure they're not doing stuff on their own, you know, just losing players here and there for no real reason. And yeah, I love to see it. I'm really happy to see these teams improve over time. A team that I want to see improve is Kuma. They've had okay-ish rotations, but they tend to just like all hug each other. And whenever it gets to fighting, I don't know if they panic, they get nervous, what it is, but they need to be able to win some team fights.
And that's the thing they're missing out on. It is the fighting. They struggle when it comes to the really tough decisions to make on when to engage and when not to. And more often than not, we see them struggle out quite early on. But like you said, you can praise their rotations because they always seem to get themselves within the circle. Yeah. It's just when it gets really small, we get to like phase 5, phase 6, and there's plenty of teams that are like,
that's the thing, right? If you get to that stage and you win a team fight, 1 to 2 team fights in Circle 6, then you're immediately top 5, top 3, top 4. But if you can't win those fights, then you're never going to get better than like a 7th to 11th spot.
It happens all too often for our friends at Kuma, who did kind of have some very nice words to say about us. They gave us a little DM on Twitter. They enjoyed the memed commentary of where they decided to rotate on the first few days. But they did impress us. They did step things up, and that's what we want to see happen to them here in the semi-finals as well.
Yep.
Epic, yeah, very strong team.
They had a very impressive group stage, right? I feel like they were a little bit quiet yesterday, but they have a lot of the fundamentals, right? We'll have to see if they can like really pop off today and impress us like they once did.
Now the Romanians here, different to Rosq. They're all bundled up down here with a lot of other teams. They've got DM, TQ, welcome to the lobby players, Rosq and BML all close by.
I'm surprised to see that nobody's in the cement factory at all yet, right? That's pretty interesting. And also, just to the right of it, we can see on the map, there's a big hill. You can easily play up on that hill.
Yeah.
And when you play that high ground, I praise it when you play Miramar. Use the high ground to scout, find out what compounds are free, what compounds are taken. It's really, really powerful to be up in these hills. I don't necessarily agree that you should stay there forever, but you can gain so much information from up there. And you can usually also see, like, if it's free or not.
Now we've got Kuma again, just slowly making their way in. There's no big rush for them. They've got vehicles to play with as well, and plenty of vehicles at that.
Kuma, a team that, I mean, I don't want to say for some reason, they just like hanging near the edge. They don't want to over-rotate, which you can, there's like, when you rotate a lot, this risk versus reward, right?
Yeah.
And they would rather keep as many people alive for as long as possible, rather than risking getting a little bit more circle favorism by moving deeper into the zone. Both things can work, but at least in the early circles, I don't like just staying like all the way on the edge. You can't really get any information, and at least for me, what I found success with in the past is rotating a little bit early and then just taking a lot of compounds, taking a lot of ground, splitting up in the earlier circles, and then grouping up with your team a little bit later on. But I do not want to like recommend or advise people to do early splits because it takes a lot of practice. It's not something you can just say, hey, one guy know how to defend a compound. You need to understand how you split, how you can always back up your teammates. And if you get pushed, you need to be willing to also give up some of these compounds if you can't scare people away.
And that's it. There's some of these things we do tell people to do and try and apply to our own game, but it requires a lot of practice, a lot of time put into it. It's not something you can easily replicate.
So some people I see is like that are newer to PUBG in general, right? When they split, they just go across the map. But when you see top tier teams do splits, they're usually very close to each other. And if they get breached, they can usually help each other or easily like move to each other and always regroup. And that's kind of what makes or breaks it, right? The #1 rule with splitting is you need to either be able to help each other or always regroup safely. If those things doesn't add up, then it's typically normally a very bad split because you always want to be able to keep 4 alive towards the end game.
Now TQ, that 4 kill, very strong push as a unit.
Yep.
With Goichi leaving the charge, he was managing to push forward as well. It was very nice from him.
I hate to see it, James. 3 guys sitting in a small shack just looking into a wall. That's not how you get, like... When you play this game, you need to be warmed up, you need to be in the zone. And if you're just AFK sitting in a corner doing nothing, you're not warmed up, you're not ready to take fights. You're just hoping to get a circle there. I want to see people be more proactive. We see this so often on Vikendi, especially when you're getting breached and you're just all sitting in the same building. You lose your compound.
Yeah.
Just because you're not playing outside, being ready to take the shots at the vehicles.
Well, a team that doesn't mind getting involved in some fights, it is Romania. They've got 2 teams. One team that just rolled past them, and Solke here from Rest, who have had a rough time and a rough start to the day. Lost the player early on, then backed away, didn't want to fight anymore. Solke now just having to throw himself down. So many nades barreling out towards him. He is so lucky none of this has landed on him.
But like, this is what I mean. Using, what was that, 3 nades, 2 molotovs, I don't know who throw the smokes, but using that much utility early for 1 player and they don't commit to flushing him, that's a waste of utility.
Yeah, you have to push forward. You have to get that kill at this stage.
I just think a lot of teams, I've done it myself when I was playing as well, using this utility early on and committing that much for just 1 kill is essentially not very really worth it, because later on you can literally win a team fight. You're pushing a compound, you know there's people in the building, throw 2 molotovs in there. He's more than likely gonna die, right? And then you take over a compound. Here they're not really fighting for anything super important. Maybe 1 kill that they didn't even get. That's one thing I want to see from like the top tier teams. This is the discipline which how they use the utility and when they decide to use it all.
And you certainly have to be disciplined when it comes down to it, as we've got a little fight going on between BML, who seem to be involved in multiple fights no matter which teams they get close to. This time they've got Magic in their sights. Master's looking to try and push into this. I think he just spotted out Carla as well. Really going for the shots. Can't make it. There was a bit of cover there. Carla actually finds the kill. At least the knock for now. Can he get the kill on there? Billy needs to get involved as well. They're trading back and forth. 2 players on the floor for BML. It's not going to work out very well as Santos. He now needs to deliver. He has to hold strong. Well, there's 2 players left alive for Magic to do this. Ray comes in from behind. Fear's up front, and they get the job done. Very smooth stuff there. Good teamwork overall, and they will be able to keep majority of their team alive.
Here we see Romania. They pushed on to DM here. Good use of utility for now, sorting them out. I want to see if they can do anything with this. They're just trying to keep them at bay. DM, 4-man standing. Romania, they're down to 3, and they're very, very low HP.
And this is the thing with DM. They have no problem with taking these kind of fights. We talk about how confident they are with these type of engagements. Matic's having to move away from the flames. A lot of health dwindling away there. He's got to be so careful, but he's instantly going to get knocked down. He was burnt to a crisp, and the rest of his team now need to find a reaction to this because Romania could potentially push forward here.
But Romania got third party in the back from Welcome to the Lobby, so they actually lost 1 member and another one not being rest right now. DM should have the information that it's Romania here, and they should have paid attention to the kill feed. They should know there are maximum 2 of them up and they have to revive. But they're just sitting back. We do see a new circle here, so they're just barely in. They're going to be fine playing up this position here. It didn't go to the cement factory, but we do have a hilltop finish, and you can see one of the DM members just disengaging, getting a different angle, but also holding a new spot in the zone for his team to go into later on.
That's very unlike DM to not go for a fight like that. Maybe they were cautious of just where Welcome to the Lobby were. As we're seeing TQ and OMGG having a bit of a battle here. Solke's found one of the Welcome to the Lobby players. Eclipse is just trying to hide in there. He's tapping him down, and he will walk away with the kill. So despite him being the solo player left alive for rest, he's still able to do some damage.
DM fully disengaged from this fight. I mean, it's okay, it's understandable, but they should have had the information that they were player knocked, player finished, and that's when you can get a few extra points. But they do manage to get out, all 4 players alive. Can't complain about it, but I would call it a little hiccup, right?
It
Not being aware.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think they realized afterwards that this wasn't possible, so now they just backed away and said, all right, we lost our opportunity, we lost our timing. And that's what a lot of it comes down to. A perfect timing is certainly needed. As M19, they're having a little bit of a face-off here. Utility being used once again from Graham, this time on B13. 2 Molotovs put down, and all that's really going to do is stop them pushing forward for a little bit. It's not really actually going to do any damage, because M19, they're playing from inside the compound. They're playing quite defensively. It's a passive fight as of now.
Yeah, I can repeat myself. We saw the zone. They're both safe and sound inside the zone. Even if they get knocks here, they're probably not going to commit to pushing.
No.
So committing all this utility right now is a big, big waste, in my opinion.
Kuma's on the scoreboards, though. They're also having a go at OMGG. It seems no matter where they go, they're finding frags to be had in front of them. They had a little battle with TQ. They're up at 1 kill at the moment. Balthazar's rezzing his teammate God. Kuma should be able to get their rezzes up as well if they can get close enough. But this is where Kuma needs to be very careful. You've got to play it smart. Play as a team. Because we know how worried they get when it gets to these kind of phases and teams are in front of them.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, OMGG, they played the entire first day with just 3 people, so we're happy to see them being back with at least 4 loaded in now. They did lose sticks, but good to see them back on track. And Kuma here, getting some revives in, but committing to almost all of their smokes. And if I'm seeing correct, where they're in the zone, they're all the way up in the northeast, sorry. So they have a while to go. And if they don't commit to this fight, both OMGG and Kuma are just going to be pushed by the blue and probably lose a lot of people to the play zone itself.
And they've made a lot of noise here as the rest of the teams do start to encroach on their position. You can be prone for ever so long, but like you said, that blue will slowly come in and will cause them a bit of a problem.
Yep.
Welcome to the lobby with just Glumglod left alive right on the edge. The blue is next to him, and so is a rock, and he's just waiting it out.
Yeah, he's going to try to sneak in behind the Romanian squad, I believe. Maybe even tank some blue damage to stay alive. OMGG, they're kind of committing. They're getting more knocks. Now I want to see them be proactive. They know, all right, we got a knock. Now we need to do something. Because time is running out. In just 30 seconds, this blue will start moving. And it's not only Kuma they have to defeat to get into the zone, right? So either commit or decide, all right, we don't want to die to the blue.
Continuous shots going on here. Epica, he's just taking his time, finds himself a few shots, but can't continually hit them. He started off strong, did a lot of damage, but that's all he's going to be able to do. He won't find the kill. Sadly enough, Kuma haven't actually tried to engage with him, though. A lot of damage done to Schlumpy, but still no knocks. And Torepka, he's actually sat there doing damage, but can't find himself any frags here.
Raman and Stumpy, they need to wake up now. They need to take these shots. They can't just let him sit here and take shots for free at his teammates.
This is ridiculous.
I'm so sad to watch this, right? Kuma, be confident, take the fight. That's
there
easy.
We go.
It was just one guy. What were you so afraid of? You have 3 members. Just peek and shoot him. He had to reload after shooting all those bullets, right?
The nerves are real when it comes to Kuma, and that's not how you win out games. Hopefully that will help him out here, as Ramon still does manage to go down, despite them having the knocked player on there. A lot of teams dwindling on numbers now. Still a fair few with 4 left alive, which is impressive at this stage of the game. This is now, though, where we start to see it slow down a bit.
Oh, yeah. This circle here is going to be crazy. There's so many teams that haven't found their home yet. We're 36 people alive, and TQ here hanging on with just 1 member, actually 2 members standing, but they're both very low life. Look at how many teams are here, and Epic, they haven't found their way into the zone here, so they need to commit to a fight. It looks like they're going to get pincered here between Ultra and our square. There's no way they're making it out.
Easy pickings for OBS, though. JC long range able to get that done. He's going to look for the finish as well, and that's certainly what he's going to be able to get. Rosq still involved in fights, but do need to be careful of this zone as it slowly moves in. Andy's still within it. Wenzy from Epic's going to be bleeding out and taking damage from it.
Our square, they're running in a complete open here, but Ultra, they've been very slow at taking this fight. And they're actually just letting them run into their buildings for free right now. Big, big mistake from Ultra here.
Yeah, they almost took 2 time. M19 from up high, able to do some damage as well. And this means Rosq, they've really got a tough decision to make. How are you going to do it?
It's going to be very tough for them. I don't even know if they can get up on this hill right now. The longer they wait, it might just be denied access and they have to heal in the blue. I'm not entirely sure, but does look like some very steep terrain to get up.
Now we'll watch this part of the game turn into a bit of chaos as we already see it. Rosq are going to be trading out here with Ultra. Romanians, they found MG as well, as have DM and M19, which means there's a big cluster of teams fighting out right on the edges here before the circle starts to close in. And remember, it's closing in from one direction. It's very close overall here. Kuma, though, they're on the scoreboards. They're getting kills. They're taking on OBS. Maybe they're listening. Maybe it's happening. They felt some confidence within it.
Yep, OBS and Kuma both fighting right now to not be eliminated. Ultra, Wire Square, they're sitting pretty, but they're in the zone. They just need to stay alive here.
Roji's position, he's just looking. He's like, guys, I'm here. You dare poke through that window again, and I will be popping those shots off towards you. And that's Ultra, who have got so many teams close by. Andy from Rosq, he's ever so slowly just working his way up. He's taking damage. He doesn't know what to do from here. His teammates are not going to be able to help him because they're just hiding in a container. So it's a long way ahead for him. As MG, they're going to go find these knocked OBS players. Voice is close by as well, but JC comes in to save the day from the side, as Andy will eventually go down at the hand of Ultra.
But Makai here gets stolen by the Romanian squad, so they're still in it. Romania here also getting connection onto JC. And then I believe Romania getting third party by DM, also waking up now here in the end. So many battles going back and forth here.
Voice is just allowing himself to go down. He knows there was no hope from there. The play zone will eat him alive as Tudor comes over the edge, finds himself 1, looking for it, but DM are close by and they're easily able to take him down. 6 teams remain, and once again, DM fragging out, frag happy, managing to get the job done.
Look at this zone. It actually closed onto here where we see Arushka and Ultra. So some of these teams eventually might have to go down the mountain and go right into the heads of them.
Just behind that container. He's just like, I know you're in here, boys.
But basically, it's like M19, a little bit of Ultra, a little bit of Arushka, and then there's barely any other playable space here. And it could actually end up going down the mountain, and then teams have to jump all the way down.
If they've got any nades or molotovs, now is the time to use it. You have to flush these guys out. You have to force them to push out, because especially for teams like M19 and DM, this is so rough to get back down into.
One thing I want to point out here, if you're M19, you have to say, these guys that we're looking at now, they're in the zone. We don't need to worry about them. The only thing that will kill us right now, if somebody comes from above us, I want to see them not worry about the guys below, but just make sure that DM and other teams don't come up behind them and shoot them in the back here.
It's going to be really interesting to see how DM are going to play this. You see Matic, he's jumped down first, looking for a bit of safe passage. Larion on Rest, all alone. He's still in this. Solo player for Rest. They had such an awful start, and he's still in it. Gnarly's found himself dropped down, so he's going to be knocked by the M19 players. And this now puts it into a 2 versus 4. So M19 massively in the advantage here, but we know how good these DM players' shots can be. Roji, low on health, needs to be careful. If there's any utility to be used, now is the time to do it, Matic.
DM here, holding onto life is so hard to push in third person when you can just creak over the hill. And I could understand if M19, they're going to wait for a knock and then commit. Right here, Dana sets the shots, and I want to see all of the M19's players just converge in and clean up DM. Nice and easy. And they played it perfect, right? Because you can't just run the open. You have to get the initial knock. And then it gets very easy to commit to. We're down to 4 teams. And it looks like the solo player from Rest has been spotted here, as he's trying to hold on to life, but Moloko sees him. And James.
Good old VSS comes into play, see? Even in the end game.
Throughout entire yesterday that Moloko was the VSS player. He got tons of kills with it.
Clearly, me and him, we just know a good thing when we see it, and we understand the benefit of the VSS.
Look at the spot that M19 is in, though. If this circle favors them, they can literally AFK to win.
Yeah. There's no way these guys are going to get up there.
But if the circle favors Ultra and our square, M19 have to jump down.
Careful, Thanos. Pokes out. Actually does manage to get one. Very solid stuff there. But again, the grenades have been used. The Molotovs have been used. He's only got a couple of smokes to play with, so it doesn't mean he can actually flush any of them out. Oh, he does have a molly. Okay, we couldn't see it on there. So he's going to try and use that. Does it go deep enough to do some damage? Ooh, plenty coming their way.
So, James, from what I see, M19 is not in the new zone, and they have to jump down, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no.
I could be wrong, but that's how I interpret it. It's very hard to see in the minimap.
It's so
I
difficult.
see the exact same thing as all the viewers does here, and maybe it's just the last circle closing down.
Well, Ultra pops out. Rose Square are going to be eliminated. That's them done with. Ultra now still looking to get some more on the board
Ultra
here.
can stay alive here, I think M19 has to jump down. But it's all depending on starters to stay alive here.
Lightning just falls down to his death.
Yep,
running and spraying. It's a good attempt, but is it going to be the end here now? Ultra, they can just hold on to this position, but they can't move up. Ultra's going to suck it out. This isn't going to make it work. Ultra trying to hang on. He's the only one left alive. He's applying bandages, and that's the best thing he can do. It's Sorka who's going to drop the first aid kit. We go into a heal off, and Ultra go down. M19 take the win, and it seemed like neither team really understood how that was going to play out.
I would say perfectly executed by M19. They gave all their meds, or enough meds, to the last member here to win the heal battle, but also sending 3 members down to try and do some damage so he couldn't time his heals perfectly. Really well played by M19 here.
You got to make a quick decision on that, and that's certainly what they did. But do you know those hillside endings? They are awkward at the best of times. It was like, so the thing is, guys, we're at home, just to understand, what you guys see in the map is the same as what we see. So where there's that many players, you just can't see where the circle's going to end. You're like, which way is it going? And Ultra probably thought at one point, oh, we might be able to do this. But no, M19, they had it on lockdown.
So one thing we can see here, our top 5, all very familiar names, but at number 6 and number 7, we have Romania and Kuma, 2 teams that are right now facing elimination. I mean, obviously, they have way more games to go, but they've had a very poor beginning here. But starting today out, new day, new mentality, and if they can keep this up, they might change it by the end of the day.
And we were very critical of Kuma of that engagement against OMGG. They allowed that one player.
Right, you can just see how scared they are to peek him.
Yeah.
There are 2 guys. The guy literally spent an entire clip. Those 2 guys who were on his right just peeked him and killed him.
Thing is, 4v1, even if they allow him to get one of your players knocked, the rest of you are going to just destroy him, so don't worry. Like, they got to have confidence in their own ability for sure. And one team that certainly has confidence in their own ability is Rose Square. These guys, from start to finish, are engaging in fights. And even when they were down to just 2 men, yes, they hid in the containers because they needed to play the circle, they needed to play the zone, but they did well regardless of what hand they were dealt.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing, right? They kept getting those later game circles, so there's no reason to take a fight. We keep talking about this. If you want to be a top 2 team, you need to be calculated in your fights. You know when to engage, when to disengage, when to try and hide a bit to just get a few more placement points. Because, right, if they just fought as soon as they got to the compound, they would have gotten 11th spot. Instead, I believe they got a 3rd place out of it. So that's just how they have to play it. And being content with being near other people is a part of being a pro competitive player. And here we just see Magic trying to clean out OBS, but he was not in favor because OBS had 3 more players. And here on the cell side, it's just everyone battling everyone. You can't make sense of anything. People are just trying to make their way into the zone, trading back and forth, back and forth. And M19, they were managing to hold onto their hill nicely and take the win here. Really, really well played.
On that battle that you saw between M19 and DM, that was really the kind of definitive factor on how that would play out for him. Because I think if M19 didn't have the numbers they had there, it would have been very hard to take down Ultra, who looked like they were ready for this regardless.
Oh, yeah.
What an ending. What a way to kick things off.
I
Our
love
first
that
match
ending.
of it. you said this. You said Cement Factory could be interesting. Well, we just got one that was probably even better than that. Like, never expected it to go down in that way.
And I would say we've been kind of lucky in these past few days. We haven't done any snake endings, right? These teams,
No.
they have to fight it out. It's not just whoever can lay prone the longest who wins the games. And I'm loving it.
They're listening. No snake endings. Now I'm going to just, like, get my hand up there because my hand is just ruined. It doesn't actually have any feeling left in it. It's just completely down. It's ready, though. And it's ready for another game to come in once again. Now, straight away, right, when it comes down to these games, Vikendi is always a fantastic opener in terms of we get some very interesting circles. It ends up being a bit chaotic like we just had there towards the end. But it does help some of these teams build some momentum. So I really want to see, okay, Kuma, you had a good position here. I need to see that continue for these guys.
Oh, yeah. But again, Kuma needs to fight. I say this every day, James. They're too scared. They're panicking. I don't know what it is. If you can't take a fight, 3v1, you're too afraid to peek them. Then how do you even dream of getting through?
Yeah, it's not an easy fight to take at all. And welcome to the lobby. Yes, you're still in 4th place. Yes, you've got plenty of points. But you would have hoped for a better game than what you just had there. They became very unlucky in the duels they started to take with some of these teams.
Look at Ultra. They're creeping up and welcome to the lobby. They've had insane games. So yesterday they got 1st place, 2nd place, 4th place. And I don't remember what the last game was, but it wasn't amazing. And now they start off here in day 2 with a 2nd place. And they've almost overtaken Welcome to the Lobby that had 2 wins in their first day.
And they've still got 3 more games to go here today. This scoreboard is going to be oh so interesting when it comes down to it. Now, FromHell and Team Unique with 8 matches each at the moment in 2nd and 3rd place. Very close in kills and points. But remember, they're not playing today. They are going to be the ones that sat here kind of looking at these scoreboards and thinking, oh, God, where are we going to end up now? Because there is a lot of teams here that can easily kind of jump up here and see themselves just overtake the leaderboard. We can see a lot of our groups here when it evens up on 8 for everything, that actually it could be Group C and B being some of the strongest.
100%. Just looking at the leaderboards right now, it was Ultra, DM, maybe even Welcome to the Lobby. RO Squares creeping up as well. It's like 4 teams, and they weren't that far away from the top 3 right now. They could all push over if they have some decent games.
They certainly could. Now, if you guys are watching and you want to have a look at the standings, you want to look in a little bit more detail on some of the past games, maybe some you've missed, head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com. And please also do subscribe to our YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we do broadcast live on all of it, but also we have the VODs from other regions, not just the European region. So if you're missing any of the action, you can catch all of it there. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is only just getting started. We're at the semi-final stages. We've got regionals to go and then the grand finals as well. It's hotting up every single day. And it will hot up as we move on to our 2nd game because we're moving away from the snowy hills of Vikendi and we'll be seeing you guys after this break.
PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night. The newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
We're going into our second game of today ever so shortly. And Vikendi, it may have had an interesting hillside ending, but that's not always the way it can go down. But interestingly enough, the teams that still maybe don't get the circle benefit sit there in a position where actually, okay, it's not advantageous for them to be in. They have to rotate in a very unique or different way, still end up within the top spots. That top 5, top 4 position is ever so similar, Larson. And it's proof now. It's just proof that this isn't RNG. This isn't just down to luck. This is down to pure skill and understanding of the game overall.
100%. Like every game, when you look at the top 5, at least 3 or 4 of those teams are the same again and again and again. And then, you know, maybe in 1 out of 10 games, 2 out of 10 games, they have some difference with some of the teams, but here you can see the leaderboards. And what I want to point out is all those teams that have 5 matches played, welcome to the lobby, Ultra, DM99, and Rosq, they're creeping up already, and they're 3 games behind. So 1 or 2 good more games from them, and they're all the way at the top.
I'm going to say straight off the bat that at least 2 of those 4 teams with 5 matches will be in first and second after this, just because of how close it is in points. It literally just takes 1 good game, and with the consistency we've seen from them, if they keep it up, phew, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm really excited. Ultra is probably the biggest upset for me here. Ultra and FromHell. They wasn't really that promising throughout the group stages, right? But they somehow managed to turn this around. And FromHell, they're currently in 2nd place. And
Out
Ultra,
of nowhere.
yeah, out of nowhere. And I would say the same with Ultra. They were kind of a team that were fighting a lot. They were good at taking fights. But I felt like their rotations were really, really lackluster in the group stages. But they always seem to find themselves in the late game. And they're really, really close to closing out of these games. Like 1st place, 2 second places now, and a 4th place in 5 games. That's insanity.
And we've seen Ultra, right? I think if you put Ultra and FromHell, you compare them, I'd put Ultra a little bit above them just because of what we did see. But even then, you would have never predicted these 2 teams to be at this stage in such a good spot. And it just proves that they are putting in that work. They have done their homework. And we keep mentioning it to teams, but you have to do it. If you don't, then this is where you'll end up in a rough spot. And we compare these 2 teams on the same amount of matches in the same lobby at the moment. And welcome to the lobby, a.k.a. WL. They did not have a good game previously, so they know they'll be disappointed with that. They're a team that's always prided themselves on taking good engagements when they're looking to breach compounds, doing it smart, doing it successfully. Where Ultra, like you said, they've started to come into it and just got better over time. So welcome to the lobby. Need to sit there and think, all right, we need to make sure we do not allow what happened in Vikendi to happen again across the next 3 games.
And that's the most basic thing of PUBG, what happened to Welcome to the Lobby. They lost 2 people on rotations, which happens, but you need to limit it and take more safe rotations so you can keep 4 people alive.
Yeah.
That's like, it's the most basic thing. Any team that is, doesn't matter how good you are, you can always like be a little bit lazy, make a mistake, take a wrong turn, and then you lose out on people.
Now let's point out some teams here that during the group stages are actually very good, but they're only just about within the top 16. Magic, Obstruction, BuzzKillBros, Bemyloot, EpicGang, and M19 were normally the teams we're saying for their group was like, yep, you're doing really good. yep, we're constantly seeing good consistency out of them, but now things have slowed down a little bit. Is there a possibility here, Larson, where there could be a bit of predictability within it, right? That teams just say, all right, well, we know how to kind of deal with you now. You've become that kind of staple team of rotating in a certain way or maybe engaging in a certain way that makes these other teams be able to say, actually, we can counter you.
There could be something with that, but we also mentioned that these sub-tier teams, like we expect Avangar, Unique, because they're signed by Orcs, it's actually easier for top-tier teams to play against other teams that are really good.
Yeah.
When you play against some teams that are maybe brand new to this, right? They've never played against before. You can be caught off guard by some of the random, I will call them random, right? You try to read your enemies, and if they do some really unexpected things that they would consider bad, they can actually lose out. So maybe the further we go, it just like makes those sub teams do even better, right? Whereas maybe the teams who are doing really good in the group stages, they were thriving a bit of some of the chaos that was going on.
That's the thing, right? Because some of the other teams that have been eliminated already, not like they were terrible individually, but they were a bit easier to say, oh, well, that's them. We're just going to run straight over them. And some of these teams certainly benefited from that, where they were able to go, Bob's your uncle, I'm going to kill that one. That's going to be an easy fight for us to take. And you saw there's a different reaction now between group stages to semi-finals in how a lot of these teams are approaching it, because they are a bit more scared. Like Kuma, when we first saw them, had some of the most interesting maybe or problematic choices in how they'd like to actually be on the map. 1-1-1-1 splits, then they went for the 2-2, then they went for the 3-1, and at this point I was like, are they just memeing us? Are they just following like some crazy path? But then they played a different style. It started to work out for them. But you can see already, yes, they had a good game today on Vikendi, but they've had some of these struggle spots where they rotate so well. We see them doing it very smart, right? They're keeping a good awareness around them. But it's the fights, it's the engagements that they just don't want to get involved in. They're like, oh, there's a big fight here. Oh, let's back away.
There's people right next to them shooting, not even towards them, and they're afraid to peek them. That is a big, big warning sign that they need to change their attitude towards the game, right? And I'm not saying just full YOLO, but I mean, if you're afraid to even peek people that are shooting right next to you and not shooting at you, then what fights do you take? How do you ever overcome this?
Now, from my knowledge, right, Kuma, he is from a fighting game, and he is a big bear. I want to see them use that energy of a big bear, use that ferocity, and to come in and say, we are confident, we will take the fights. As we move into Sanhok, and Sanhok's always been an interesting map for us, because we see a lot of teams, they will just fight the whole way through. It's not really looking for the clever rotations. It's more trying to play on the kills. And that's very different to how any of these other maps have played out for us yet.
Oh yeah, and just Sanhok in general, it's a way smaller map than all of the other maps. You don't use vehicles. The blue moves in a way that you can always outrun it, so you don't really need to be as afraid of getting caught in the blue to some extent. And I also think the blue does a little bit less damage in this map. So you can see people, they can play way more passive. I say that, and then we get a really tough circle with a lot of water in, and everybody will have to make their way over to the top left island, which is actually the hardest one to do, because if you look at the big main island, sure, there's lots of stretches where there's thin water you can easily walk through, but on the northwestern island, there's big rivers, and you actually have to swim most of the part to get through.
Oh my god, that spray down. Mr. Asata, he found one, he put him down in the ground, Nukas is just running away, Warfarin all alone, and potentially DM losing a player straight away. I said about this game was being kills when it comes to Sanhok. Well, this is exactly how it's starting off.
I'm surprised that Ultra is committing this much to try and get a finish, right? Look at them, there are 3-4 guys together here, they barely have any loot, and they're giving up this much time with looting to try and get a few kills early on. Interesting, but we do see they do manage to get a knock onto DM, they do deal a big blow. I don't know if they'll be able to get the rest. They're disengaging now. Matic might actually be able to get the rest here, but both of the teams losing a lot of time. And with this circle that we have right here, time might be very, very important. Just because the later you try to get to the northwestern island, it's harder it's going to be to cross all the water. And here, I feel like every game we see OMGG's players be split alone, finding themselves surrounded by enemies on all sides. How does this happen again and again and again?
It is just seemingly what they love to do. They're like, you know what, we'll allow one player to be solo, everyone else can stick together. Oh, and he's going to go down. Fear's looking around him like, hey, this is nice and easy. Pop, pop, easily done. Gets the loot, and OMGG are down to 3 players already. You hate to see it if you're OMGG, but you need to stop making this decision.
Like, every game that we see them play, they're just like alone, and they get caught off guard, and they're like alone next to other people, and they lose out. So there were 3 together here, and then one guy's just off doing his own thing. You cannot have that happen again and again and again. Losing people, no matter where, but especially early on, should never be a thing.
Now, we saw just previously Romania going for a little bit of a swim. It is hot on Sanhok, so it makes sense. They're just getting over to the island already. They're saying, do you know what? We're not going to be the last party to rotate over this time. We're going to come in, have our own party, and say, we'll wait for the other teams to come across. Because at least for now, they don't have to worry about being shot out the water. When it gets very clustered over there, that's when it's going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah. Our Rosq, seldomly enough, I feel like they're always fighting early on, but they've found a spot where they can lose up or loot up nice and easy, get everything they want. OBS here, looting small compounds, but staying together, saying if there's going to be guys here, we're ready to take the fight together, pretty much. That's probably the best way to do it, but it's also a question, like when you loot all these small compounds together, do you get enough loot for an entire team? As we can see, Ultra here, they might have the meds to loot up, but probably not going to be looking great here.
DM still able to battle back against them. So obviously they did get to res their teammate. Ultra now don't have the advantage in terms of high ground, but DM will try and use that to their advantage and say, okay, what can we do? Now they don't have the sights, as you can see here, for Warfarin, but they might be able to connect some of these shots. And at least for now, they're keeping Ultra at bay. They're pushing him away.
Yeah, DM here has absolutely no loot whatsoever. Not even bandages, stims, first aid, nothing. And we can see here Ultra connecting another knock onto DM. Not the start they would have wanted here. Obviously DM, they're looking okay on the leaderboards. They can afford to have a few rough games. But if you start having too many bad games, it can affect you mentally. You can get upset. You can lose focus. And I would say it's probably something that occurs more often when you're an inexperienced player, right?
Asata, by the way, that's the second time long distance with no sight to help him, just able to connect shots and hold that recoil spray, which actually, guys, if you're trying to do that at home on mobile, that's not easy. That's impressive.
Welcome to the lobby, finding themselves not first to the compound that they want to occupy, and they're taking the time to scout. Hopefully they'll see that M19 is there and won't get caught off guard, and let's just say that. Pasta sees out Thanos. Thanos goes into the open, gets an easy knock here, and it looks like they're almost able to get the flush.
Nicely done by Poser, takes the time. Couple of very well-placed shots will finish off Thanos, which puts M19 at a massive disadvantage here. And if Welcome to the Lobby can breach this together as a unit, play it smart, they can flush these players out. Because M19, they've each got a compound each, which means that if anyone does get knocked, the likelihood of a res coming in is going to be very hard. As Rest, they're going to be happy. They had a rough start in the first game. Now they get a lovely bit of loot to work with early on.
We say that, but even though they had a rough start, they managed to salvage it and finish it. Like, top 5 placement points, I think they were maybe a little bit lower in their wall standings because they didn't have any kills.
Yeah.
But they managed to snake all the way into the top 5-6 position and somehow got out ahead, even though they were losing all their members early on.
Sometimes that's what it's about, right? Playing the hand you are dealt. If you can get a solo player to do that, that is huge. There's Sorka. He's just waiting and listening to what Welcome to the Lobby may be doing here. Welcome to the Lobby still being very cautious. They know they don't want to underestimate M19.
That nade gonna connect?
Maybe went a little bit under. More so than he wanted. Sorka able to avoid it, at least for now. Jonathan's gone all the way around. Watch his position. Over towards the east, he's decided to dip away a little bit there, which means that, okay, if M19 want to push out, he'll be able to deliver that information to his team, so that's a smart play coming in there. Yep. But everyone already making their way over the island, and oh dear.
Look at how much water there's still in.
There is so much water within this circle. You hate to see it.
There's so much water that it doesn't even show up on the map, but the entire top left of the circle is literally just water, unplayable area. And honestly, if you're a team here, it's nothing you do often or see often, but if you go all the way to the western side here, James, you're going to be completely free in your bag, and you'll be able to have so much space to play with.
The thing I pointed out, with Jonathan being around the side, it worked out perfectly. That means 2 players from M19 went down. Our observers are on point today. Guys, you are killing it. They spot that out, and they see M19 in a rough spot. Roji's been put on the floor as well, and he's most likely going to bleed out as Jonathan comes around the corner and finishes him off. And honestly, welcome to the lobby. You had a bad game to start off with. You just straight away turn this around. You proved to us once again you can do these engagements oh so well. What an ingenious decision from them.
Look who's still fighting, DM. I don't know if they managed to secure a little bit more loot, but they keep running into people. They managed to get the finish onto Yura, but there's no chance they'll be able to loot it unless they commit to taking on the rest of OBS here. Tough beginning from them. We do see Rosq, they've spotted out Kala, and they're committing to potentially going for him here. It's a good 2-2 split from Rosq, but I don't know if they have the information, and Kala is just going to be running away. Kala does have help up on the hill. I say help. Billy just gets headshotted and almost all of his HP gone.
From such a distance as well. Do you know what? This is what happens when we get to Sanhok with a bit more open terrain in there. A lot of these players will go for some of these more ballsy plays that we don't often see. And actually sometimes can just work out and prove that some of that individual ability can really shine through.
Oh yeah. One guy that needs to shine through right now is Kala if he wants to have any dream of living. As I say that, Rosq with a beautiful flank, just nice and easy securing him, and I think we saw Billy just running away saying, Kala, what were you doing there alone? Not like this.
Not like this. This isn't the way it was meant to go down. But honestly, do you know what Sanhok does deliver in terms of a map? It really works on the teams with solid communication.
Oh, yeah.
Because look at the two engagements we've seen there. One from Rosq and one from Welcome to the Lobby, just in how they were able to act and how they were able to reposition themselves to catch out some of them players as they tried to disengage. If you can stop a disengagement, that's going to help you out massively.
Definitely. And being able to take these flanks earlier on. The later you get into the game, you won't have as much space to move around, but saying, all right, it's only circle 2. We can do these flanks, we can get a free knock. And our top teams are taking full advantage of that. Looks like OBS is in another engagement with DM. We do see some of the members getting taken down low, but they're just trying to get away. Is it DM? Yeah, it is still DM shooting. So DM had 2 that are already crossed and 2 sitting back. 1 knocks do connect to Wise here. Should be able to get the rest off, unless Matic can get the angle from the side here.
Once again, Jonathan's been able to find a knockdown there, and it's welcome to the lobby. They've turned things around. They're wanting to deliver this, as we're following what DM can do here, and it is this engagement with OBS as JC finds himself 1. But he now needs to be able to make sure he can try and get that finish off, or decide if he wants to take this fight anymore, because the rest of the DM players are starting to make their way over.
Hate to see it.
Just sliding down he goes. That's the end.
He's like, all right, I'm dead. I'm just going to hide my body so you can't loot me.
It's like that bit where he just says, do you know what? I may as well go out with a bit of fun. I may as well have a slide and a little dive while I can.
The jump here from Soulcake could have cost him his life, but luckily he had the backup from his teammate. We do see the last team member from Romania here, Tudor, just hiding him up, hoping he doesn't get spotted. And if he stays quiet, he might just live. And we just saw the circle update. They're straight in the center up there. And these hilltops, I'm loving hilltop and things. They're so much fun.
We've got great circles.
But like the thing is, right? It just allows people to fight. You don't have to drive vehicles around and hope for the best. And whoever knows how to take these fights, win them, and know how to hold their positions, they're going to come out ahead. And it's so much fun to play, and I also think it's a lot of fun to watch.
Now, this is huge from Tudor. He's managed to stay alive. The rest of his teammates got eliminated. Remember, we pointed out that Romania were the first team to rotate. They swam over pretty much within the first circle. They were just like, all right, we can see where this is going. We're not going to hold back. And they went over to it. But then the first engagement they meet, it's rest, and they all go down, bar Tudor, who's now going to look to try and survive as long as possible. Now, Kuma have got ASE very close to them here.
I like how they both hear each other and then they just play dead.
It's like, we're not here, guys.
Exactly. And then they're like,
promise.
Team, I need help. There's people close to me. Help!
No, we're invisible. They can't see us. Trust me. If we think it, it will happen.
Epic here had Magic creeping up behind them. Epic did send a few members into the zone, but decided to leave 2 behind to make sure that nobody would take the compound from them, keeping their back safe. Really well played by Epic, right? You can just often go into the zone, not care about anything, and Magic, they wanted to creep up behind them. And are we seeing Kuma
again.
taking a fight here?
Yeah, Kuma going for it. A bit of back and forth. Champion's got a good position to hide from, but it all depends on if Kuma are going to push out into this open area. They can get a bit of a good flank fire going on. Just look at their position.
Yeah. Kuma playing pretty close together. Ace is split 1 by 1 by 1. So if Kuma manages to get some of these opening knocks, it might be huge for them. Something, they're starting looking too good as welcome to the lobby here, Jonathan.
Welcome to the lobby. No, they don't need this to happen.
Look at the rest players, they're just creeping in on them. Jonathan needs to do something huge here if he wants a chance of living.
He spots him out. Jonathan doesn't shoot. He tries to hide it out. It's not going to work. They're going to find him, and that's a very easy kill for Rest to find, which now means for the rest of the Welcome to the Lobby players, it's crunch time. What do you do from here? Because you need to have a good game. We praised how you took that first initial engagement, but now you've got 2 players on low health, and Rest are hungry for more. And this is exactly what's going to happen. More shots coming in. Lova's in. He's coming doing all the damage, all the work, and picking up all those frags. Solke looking for the final member, thinking, where on earth has this guy got himself to? That's not what you want to do, Solke. You want to do it in style. I like it. I like the effort. You're trying to do it for maybe a frag movie point, but ultimately, you probably want to save that bit of health.
So welcome to the lobby here. They split out. They must not have been very familiar with this terrain. That's the only reason I can think of why they're splitting out, trying to find a place to play by, right? Their call should have been, hey, this is a good spot. We should see if we can take it and go all together. But they get caught like 1 by 2 by 1 and ultimately losing out of the fight. And Rest here, they're playing really well.
Oh, wow, this is huge. Come, destroys Carrick. TQ tried to make their way across. They had 1 man in the water. He went down. At Circle 3, the damage isn't that bad. They're dropping painkillers. They're making sure they can hold on to it. I'd love to see Rosq just flush Carrick out to ensure that they do get him and he doesn't just kind of manage to escape. That's exactly what Andy's able to get done. With 3 players left alive, 3 kills on the board. As long as Harp can heal himself up, they should be able to make it back in. But that's an incredible hard shift on Kuma and ASC. Now, if you're these 2 teams, you need to make a decision. Do we fight back and forth? Or do we just allow this position to go? Let's keep it quiet.
I mean, Kuma have already taken down 2 ace members and almost connects to the 3rd here. So Kuma should know they're in 1 number and man advantage. But what I see on the minimap here is Kuma, they're spread up. They're not playing as a team. And if they don't win these 1v1s, they can just lose out on this. You need to play as a team when you're taking these fights. That's the only reason it's good to have an advantage, right? They're up 1 guy, so they should be able to play together now and trade efficiently rather than going 1 by 1 and maybe just evening the odds or even losing the odds that they have right now.
Bagexy, he is all alone and he is completely pinned down. He's got bandages, but he's not seeming to want to use them.
He wants to stay quiet, I believe.
Yeah, he's biding his time, but he's completely surrounded. No matter what happens now, he's going to struggle to get out of there. His teammates abandoned him.
Stark here slowly bleeding out. But we can see here, he's right next to the blue zone. His teammates are not that close. They're prioritizing to get into the new zone, as we saw it hard shifted very far to the north, and this is all the way down south. So teams here, they'll have to try to get ahead of the zone to get in. DM getting caught out on his own. DM have had a very rough game here, to the extent that they've just been fighting and fighting and fighting. And now, once again, they have to get through all of these teams to get into the zone. You can see Nukes is just trying to book it, hoping for the best.
This could be a huge day here for Rest.
Oh yeah.
You had 1 player, after your whole team nearly got eliminated, able to prone it out to top 5. And then you've now got Rest here with 6 kills, 14 teams remaining, but such a huge position to fight from. They're just stopping any teams working their way up the mountain.
Not the best game for our squad. We did see they were caught in the south side, they were in the blue. The circle just went way away from them. And they don't really have the time to take all these engagements, right? They're just being pinned back. And Kuma showing signs of life here.
Slumpy's listening. He's saying, okay, guys, I've heard what you had to say. It's time for us to not be scared.
I mean, obviously, they came here somehow, right? And you can't just play passive. But you need to not be afraid and commit to these engagements. But you also need to play them as a team.
Rosq still, no matter what, seem to be able to find engagements, but they do have to be careful. That zone's going to move, and it's going to do a lot of damage, so they've got to make a decision. Do we just try and push forward and avoid all of the potential damage we will take, or do we just take fights and get kills across the board here?
Look at Rest here. They're going together, making sure they have all of their team members there. If something bad should happen, they can trade immediately. Epic here probably being very quiet. They might have been heard out since he's throwing the nade.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to hide, as it didn't look like they were a full team anymore.
Nades going out, and that's very close to both Tron and Wenzy from Epic.
But look at that. There are 4 people, but they're so split right now. How does that end up happening?
Well, Leader's shooting on to Rest, so at least be able to pass on the information. Solke is going to get knocked down. Will they be able to finish him off? Solke, do not go forward. You've just been spotted out and you've just gone down. That is a huge error from Rest. Solke should have been going back up towards his teammates, not out in the open like that. And now his teammates are going to really struggle to handle this little fight that's going on, because they've got to deal with Leader long range, or the rest of the players down below could easily jump up at any time.
Oh, yeah. I was criticizing them, but the Dutch managed to turn it out in their favor. Well played by Epic here, having each other's back, making sure they both survive for a little while longer. And you cannot nade this angle, there's no way it works.
It's like bounce, bounce, damn it, it didn't work.
But even if you throw it down on the grassy side, it's so easy for the Epic members to avoid it. The zone coming in now, it actually favored the teams on the hill a little bit, I believe. It didn't go too much north, it went more to the eastern side. We'll have to see what happens now.
Now Rest trying to work their way down. They're quite close to the circle. They should be able to make it, but they need to make the decision on which engagements they're going to take here. I need to see all of them just go and take the fight against Harb now and deal some serious damage. Anasar is going to really struggle. Instantly, he goes down.
I want to point one thing out real quick. We have 11 teams, but only 22 people alive. So we're down to a bunch of solos, duos, trios, and all these teams are not very healthy.
Harbour trying to hold on, but it's not going to work out. Long range, Rest is getting it done still. They're up at 10 kills now. TQ medding up, trying to push in, but it's this downhill fight or uphill fight for some teams that is going to be very hard. Wenzy, what are you going to do here?
Look at all these solos. 9 teams, 17 alive. And it seems like a lot of the plan for these guys is just heal in the blue, stay alive as long as possible. If you die with 17 alive and you get 9th place, you're going to be very, very upset, James. You're like,
Baltazar trying to heal it. It's not going to work. OMGG are down. 8 teams remain. And this circle has been so rough. Look at how many teams have just had to drop down to their death and struggle to fight this out. And they're just literally healing in the open because there's no other option.
oh, yeah.
If I'm Kuma now, or Magic, for example, I'm looking for these long-range fights. Are you out in the open? Cool, I'll pick you off, no problem. Wenzy finally dies out to the blue, and it's just a running game, the running simulator as it be.
But the thing is, right, they've stayed in the blue for such a long time. Some of these teams might not expect that people would still be coming out. But I agree with you. Magic and the other teams that are healthy, they should be looking to get all these frags. And somehow these guys are just allowed to run in for free right now.
Yeah, this is too much like space given to a lot of these teams.
Do you remember M19? They lost 3 members in the first circle, and Lightning have somehow managed to creep in here to the center.
Slumpy going long range.
Are they on top of each other? Or just right next to each other?
Kuma looking for a fight though once again. Slumpy, you give him an opportunity to play a long distance game and he's loving life. Gets the knock done, looking for more. It may be only 3 kills, but I'm just happy they're getting involved. They're not just wasting time and just sitting back as OBS get eliminated in 7th. Epic are going to be close to going down as well. They need to be oh so cautious.
So many solo players here just trying to hold on to life. We have 4 snakes, a 4-man team in Magic, and just 3 left from Kuma. And this zone here, probably favoring Magic the most in the terms that they have a few more buildings to work with, but it actually goes straight to Kuma.
Kuma, this is your time to shine. You've got 3 players left alive. Play it smart, continue this kind of style, and you can get a win here, boys.
Kuma, Kuma. I do like it though. They have 2 members towards where the solos are. Slumpy, he's holding his own, just making sure nobody creeps in. And all they have to do is just bide their time here, hope that maybe some of the solos will strike some fear into Magic, and then just pick off the leftovers, right? They don't need to do anything drastic to close out this game. They just need to not panic.
I want to know if ASC and M19 are realizing how close they are to each other.
Oh yeah, 100%. They both been moving around.
Biggies is like, I'm right on the edge and I can't move from this building. Epic are now firing up against Magic. If a lot of teams challenge Magic here, it's going to be crazy. Lightning's having to jump up. He can hear what Kuma is shooting. Are they going to be aware? I think Ramon did just hear Lightning move around, so how are they going to try and challenge us together? To come out of this position is going to be very hard for Kuma, but they have luckily just got the edge of the circle. It's Magic who will have to move first. And PRZ, all in the back, is just literally causing such a nuisance for Magic because they're scared of what he can do from here as a solo player.
Yep.
Oh, Lightning, look at him.
He's like, gonna be in the blue now, though. He has to move.
Goes in for some shots. PRZ does go down to Magic, so they are able to deal with him. Biggies is gone as well, so now we're down to 3 teams. M19 Lightning, he's just looking to stay alive and hold on for as long as possible. He's ticking away so much damage. Tamsi jumps up with the spray. Ramon finds the one onto Master, though, which is huge. Lightning goes down as well, and Kuma, they are not done and dusted just yet.
They're in it for sure. If you've seen the new circle update, it went to Kuma again. This is Kuma's game to win. If they lose this one,
Master's down
they
as
must
well.
have made a
There's
huge
no way
mistake.
he's being brought back up.
Oh,
that
no.
turns into a 3v3.
And look at the zone. It's right on top of Kuma. They'll have this wall to work with as Magic just has to go closer and closer and closer. And this circle starts updating in 10 seconds.
I want to see Kuma, especially Schlumpy just now, go out for these crazy shots. Ramon jumps up, he finds Sade, but that's an instant return as Fear looking for the refrag. More shots coming across. Slumpy hits the deck, and that's not what they would have wanted. The revives need to come in, but look at it. Magic Fear, he knows it's his time to strike. He's going to go for it, but he's going to take some circle damage. Tamsi, you should have the advantage here. He doesn't manage to get it done, though. Magic, some way, somehow, they managed to take the win, and Kuma let it slip once again.
You're looking at my face. Kuma, the circle's gonna do the job for you. The only thing they have to do is not panic, not hesitate, wait for the blue to move them. But they overpeak. They stand out spraying the grass. I don't know why. All they have to do, wait for the zone, push Magic into them and kill them. They're literally gonna be funneled into them, but they just overpeak, spray into nothing, trying to guess where the last remaining Magic members are.
Thing is, Tamsi was not taking any damage from the blue and still couldn't win out that fight. I was just a little bit scared of that. But I'd say the only player out of all of the Kuma players that should have been poking was Slumpy, who had the sniper to play with. He had the car, so he could have at least come in and done some pot shots, right? But he was the only one. Like you said, realistically, none of them should have been poking. So even that is just baffling. I think maybe they took our words too literally when we said fight constantly. Then they just went, oh, we'll fight all the time. So the ferocity of the bear was there, but it wasn't meant to be in the same way. It's a good position regardless, though. Second place is respectable, but in that position, that is your game to lose, and they lost it.
They have the wall, they have the circle, and they just overpeak. Big mistake from Kuma. Hate to see it, James.
Kuma, we're trying to help you guys out. We're trying to give that advice.
But this game, honestly, Rosq, they played it so well.
Yeah.
They were managing to fight off everyone from the hill for the longest time possible. But ultimately, the circle shifted north just a few too many times for them and then go out a little bit earlier than they probably would have liked. But they had so many kills. As you can see here, they had 9, and they probably managed to get a few more. Ending it on 10.
That's impressive. This last bit, oh, it was so rough to watch.
You can even see him there, like he panicked so much that he was just moving and moving and moving. And we all
Spray
know
and
that.
pray, running around, not what
If
you
you're
wanna
running
see.
while you're spraying, you're not going to hit anything. If he just stood still, aimed, and shot, he would have won that fight 10 out of 10 times.
Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and the fact they only got 4 kills sees them only with 26 points. A big help for them, though, to jump further up the scoreboards. Magic are going to be loving life, though. Out of nowhere, they started off the game strong overall. They got that initial pick that you saw on the highlights, and now they've been able to continue it through. And I honestly, when you looked at this has been a crazy game. The circles were hard. Yes, it did benefit Kuma, but Magic, they had to rotate into that, and they still managed to do it. Hats off to them.
M19, winner of the first game, now getting a 3rd place, even though I believe it was Welcome to the Lobby that took out 3 members from them, like right at the beginning of the game almost.
Lightning was just like, okay, I'll just wait it out as much as possible.
And we see some new teams showing up. I mean, obviously, Rosq, off the back of their 10 kills, they managed to sneak their way into the top 6. Only
That's
6
huge.
placement
Like,
points.
look at all the placement points. They're like so little in comparison, but yet still in 6th place.
But a lot of our top contenders here actually didn't show up in Sanhok.
Yeah.
So we're seeing some new names, and that's huge for them, right?
I think this one definitely came down to how that circle was just such a rough shift, because
Yeah.
it went all the way over towards the west and then went all the way up to the north, and it was like, what do we do here? How do we even deal with this?
But I mean, a lot of our top teams, right, they've already secured up a lot of points. So I'm happy to see some of the new teams being able to get up points, especially our boys in Kuma, which we're pointing out. They need the points.
By the way, when we keep saying our boys from Kuma, we have no investment in this team.
We're only invested in the story that we have with them.
We've made this crazy story for Kuma of the fact that in the group stages, they made some interesting rotations. They've improved as a team, and they are learning as they go, but also they're a fun bunch of guys. Now, when we look at the standings, Kuma see themselves now into 14th place. But look how many of these teams, DMStorm, FeelThePain, teams are catching up with you guys, and they've still got 2 more games to play.
To be fair, I believe Kuma was almost all the way at the bottom, and
Yeah.
they managed to get the way up to 14. Is good. They need to keep this up.
One more good
EpicGang.
placement's nice.
EpicGang, they need to step it up, right?
Yep.
We're expecting a lot more from Epic, even FeelThePain to some extent. And Obstruction, I mean, they had a really good first week in the group stages, but the second week was really lackluster for them. So they need to find a way to be more consistent, so they don't just have a few explosive games that will like explode and
jump
shoot
them
them up
up.
the leaderboard,
Yep.
and then like slowly fall down again.
Now, when we look at the actual top of the scoreboards, both Welcome to the Lobby and Ultra went out early on, so
They
no
all went out
shift
early
in
on.
there, which is just going to mean that Rest has crept their way into top 8, and actually not that far away from jumping up quite a few places ahead of them. Rosq still within it as well, but with 2 more games to play, maybe what I said for Welcome to the Lobby and Ultra being in first and second might not actually be possible unless they step it up on Erangel.
What position was M19 in? Because they had 2 really good games today now, and I don't see them in the top 8. Do you remember what spot they're in?
I think they were just outside like 9th or 10th.
Okay, so
they're very close
they
on it.
obviously needed the punch coming into today.
Yeah.
Good for them.
It
But
does happen sometimes the
Right.
way they would want it. Now we're comparing FromHell and Team Unique once again. Realistically, the same thing to say. They were just finding out these 2 teams aren't actually within the lobby we were looking at the moment. So there's nothing really to say on this. We just leave it be. We can just stay there. Nice graphic. Pretty.
I mean, we do know that some of these teams, right, are only 20 points away from taking over them, and
Yeah.
they have 2 more games. Getting 20 plus points in 2 games is not that hard. So even though they're in second and third place right now, they're probably pretty close to being overrun by our lobby B and C teams.
Oh, yes. And that's where they're going to sit there and think, going into the next week, we need to deliver to a different standard. And I have to keep coming back and say it, mate. There are many teams that need to adjust quicker than what they are at the moment. This is the 3rd week now. This is the last day of the 3rd week even. You should have been working non-stop on trying to improve it, especially if you want your chances to make it forward to the next stages.
Oh, yeah. And we have seen some teams improve, especially today. M19 is probably the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
They found themselves pretty low in the standings. They managed to get a 1st place now and a 3rd place, even salvaging some games. So very much we need a punch to them. We do see Kuma. They've crept out. They're not in the eliminations right now, but they're making so many mistakes. And I would say they're like fundamental basic mistakes of just like the blue's coming in. We just need to make sure that we keep our spot, let the blue do its job, and then actually close out some games. So if they can just work on like basic stuff, they have a good chance of making it through, right?
They certainly do. Now, you guys saw on the standings who was within the top 16, but if you want to see who's on the top 24, where some of your favorite teams are, maybe not just from the European region, from any region that we are covering here for the Club Open 2019, head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com. And also, when you're at that, head onto YouTube. Head onto our YouTube channel, press that subscribe button. We're up at like millions of subscribers now, which is awesome to see for the PUBG Mobile scene. But we want to continue to see it grow. So on behalf of me, Larson, and everyone else involved, do drop that subscribe button. And what we're going to do while we wait for you guys to subscribe is go to a break. We've got Erangel, 2 more games coming your way. Will things change? Will my prediction on who's going to end up in the 1st and 2nd places change? We'll have to wait and see. We'll stay tuned and we'll see you then.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
It's day 3 of week 3, and we're on to our final 2 games. It's Erangel all the way for matches 11 and 12. And as always, you've got myself, James Banks, joined by the amazing Matthias Larsson to take you through all these games in style. And when I say in style, I mean hardcore commentary, hardcore analysis, and also not allowing teams to get away with silly mistakes like we saw Kuma sadly make this time around, Larsson. That little ending we had there on Sanhok. And honestly, we've been gifted some beautiful games today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy
Definitely.
endings, a lot of fun. And you can see there our previous winners, M19 on Vikendi, Magic on Sanhok, and Magic, probably even themselves were thinking, how the hell did we get away with getting that game?
Yeah, I almost don't want to talk about it. You know,
You're so
usually
upset.
the way you can deal with depression is just forget about it. And I mean, the only thing to say, right?
Yeah.
Kuma, they jumped the gun.
Yep.
They were like probably too excited. They had the zone, they had the wall, and like, ha, we got this. But the way you have it is literally just wait for the blue to move,
Yep.
push the Magic members into you. They have to stand up, they have to make movement, and then you can just pop shots at them. But if you keep keeping the same spot on the wall over and over again, you're so easy to pre-fire. And that's why you saw 2 Kuma members go down at the exact same time and then just lose the game.
Now you can look at our overall standings as they are at the moment. And overall, it is still Avangar, FromHell, Team Unique right up there. Welcome to the lobby, and Ultra had a couple of rough games, in all honesty, on how we normally play. But they've got this chance now on Erangel to solidify themselves. Now, Ultra, they won't have to battle off against as many teams this time as they have in their previous groups, especially for the zones they want to take and how they want to do it. Welcome to the lobby. This is where we've seen them play at their best. But I'm scared because we do see this, that some teams have games where it's just not looking too good, right? They have days where it's like they're not performing up to standard. I hope that isn't the case for these guys, because otherwise it does become that worrying factor where we say, all right, guys, yeah, maybe letting this drop just a little bit too much now.
But that's the thing, right? I can speak from personal experience. When you're playing from behind, you're just like, you got nothing to lose. You're just going to take all the chances. You're going to make all these crazy plays. You're going to look amazing. And then sometimes when we play ahead, we're not very used to it because it's just like, then like, hey, now we got to preserve what we have. We got to, like, if we just play it safe, we make it through, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's like when you change that mentality up, it's like, oh, hey, we have nothing to lose. We're just going to catch up. You have these explosive games, big performances coming in. But maybe some of these teams that are really high up, like Welcome to the Lobby, they just go back to playing passive, being like, yeah, if we just get like to bait every game, we'll go make it through. And, you know, that could be what is happening. I'm not saying it is, but there's such a big difference from playing from behind with nothing to lose, or when you're ahead and you say, hey, if we just play semi-safe and don't do anything crazy, we're through. We made it, right?
And that's what we want to do. We want to see these teams maybe just play back to their standard style of saying, hey, look, we can just beat out all of these teams that are here and make it work going forward. And when it comes to Erangel, this is where we get some of the games where we say, all right, Vikendi, Miramar, Sanhok, you games are in there. Some teams are good, some teams are struggling. They don't play it as much. But Erangel is where there are no excuses to be had. This is where everyone should be on their A game. There should be no mistakes being made on like a huge level like we've seen where some people are just jumping down the mountain.
Oh, yeah. There's not very many mountains to jump out of, but you can make cool tricks on a bike.
Flying over Potato Hill, for example.
Woo! And this plane, pretty neutral. It's only really bad towards people that want to drop military base, military power, and the sorts of it. And we know Ultra, they love them South African military base.
Yeah.
And I assume they're trying to make their way down there, but it might be a little bit rough for them to get a good beginning. We see a lot of teams drops towards the Georgia Pole area, both North and South Georgia Pole, and the containers. Yasnaya, we've always seen so many teams, so it's going to be exciting to see just how many teams we have in Yasnaya on this airplane. Pachinki is also heavily contested. TQ seems like they're going to take Primos for themselves, and they're going to have that. OBS, they're all in the hospital. 4 guys looting the hospital doesn't seem super efficient to me.
No, not quite.
Especially when it looks like... I'm a little bit confused looking at this minimap, right?
Yeah,
It looks like Rest and... like, look at Rest and OBS. Are they 8 people in the hospital right now while there's nobody inside South Georgia Pole?
Surely not.
Because
Surely
OMGG is... I want to say North Georgia Pole. Okay, and then Rest are in containers, possibly. And then OBS is in the hospital. I think that's what's going down. It's just hard for me to see.
Well, welcome to the lobby. Battling off against Ultra already. over in Pachinki. Some long distance damage being done, but no knocks to be had just yet by the looks of it.
He was trying to get
Stark was knocked, okay.
I think they want to go to the melee base, and that's why the entire rest of the team is in vehicles, and he somehow landed in Pachinki with welcome to the lobby.
We were confused as well, because when you looked at the map, you just saw them. They were very split up, and it was like, okay, you want vehicles, but you've still got to land in somewhat together and maybe back each other up. But Ultra, this is not the start they would have wanted at all. The rest of them got vehicles. Yes, they will probably go to military base and take the spots to play off of here. But welcome to the lobby. You can at least sit there and say, hey, 1 kill, 1 extra point. Let's start Erangel the way we mean to continue it.
This is also very unique, right? I think it's one of the first games where we've only seen one team in Pachinki itself. And welcome to the lobby. Must have fought off some other teams since they're obviously scared of going over there. And like we said, rest, they're chilling in the containers. We know that pretty much every game they've played thus far, they've always taken the containers, no matter how bad the airplane is. They're like, yeah, we'll sacrifice some time to go loot here. This is our home. You guys can stay away.
And remember, there was in the group stages a team that kept challenging rest over and over again.
I believe it was FeelThePain, perhaps.
And they were just like causing each other such a problem. One team would win one time, one team win the next time. There was no consistency there because it just came down to who could hit the shots at that moment.
Oh, I didn't see that Ace was inside Georgiapolis, so there's so many teams around this area. And getting vehicles and making these rotations might actually be really, really rough, just depending on the timings, right? Romania here, they're looting school and apartments. Really powerful spot, pretty center in the zone. You can always go there with airplanes. So we'll see if they can transition their early loot spot into a good advantage for them in the later stages of the game. Above them in Rosq, we saw DM99, OMGG there in North Georgiapol. We can see the zone here. Judging from this, it's kind of like in the center, probably a little bit to the northwest. Gonna have quite a bit north side, but probably primarily south side here.
Oh, Kuma, no! Not again. Ramon's been found all alone. From what we can see on the minimap, his other teammates are coming to the rescue, but it might be a little bit too late or too far away, potentially. Ramon taking further bullets. He's trying to hide behind the car. Dark Angel's looking for the option to take him down. And he will fall to Grozny in the end, so B13, an easy free kill for them.
So basically, Kuma thus far, they've been uncontested in Milta. So it might be the first time that they're seeing B13 here. But since Avangar is not in the lobby, they've been able to loot Milta Power.
Yeah.
But imagine if B13, Avangar, and Kuma is in, then there's going to be some issues starting around Milta and Milta Power.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting battle because none of them would get the loot they wanted. No one would have everything they require to fight this off. And then it would be down to who gets the better option or the opportunity to take that fight at the time.
And this was not like a hot drop to any of the margin because the plane wasn't even good for Milta, Milta Power. So these teams, they've landed for vehicles and then driven over there. So interesting to see that. I can't remember, but B13 might have always landed in Milta Power, or Milta itself, sorry, but I've only ever seen Kuma land there. So maybe they just haven't clashed that much together in the group stages.
Magic Master, he's looking to start strong again. How much damage can he get done? He's trying to make it work. He's got the beautiful VSS in his hand, but he's not able to connect all the shots as BML will run away.
Yeah, the only reason why I didn't kill them all right there was because he didn't have an extender mag. Extender mag makes the VSS so much better, right?
There we go. You understand perfectly.
Okay, to be fair, the VSS against vehicles, 9mm bullets is probably not the best thing to shoot.
Yeah.
Just because subsonic 9mm rounds, they tend to travel very, very slow in comparison to 5.56 rounds.
But if you're me, I just believe in the VSS like a fool in every situation. But in all honesty, a lot of mobile players do use the VSS. We still see it manage to get all the way across.
But if you're me, you analyze stuff, and 9mm subsonic rounds, they're very, very slow and weak in comparison to 5.56. So shooting at vehicles, I wouldn't recommend using the VSS if you do have an assault rifle.
Killing my hopes and dreams there.
What? The VSS can't be the best for everything.
It is the ultimate weapon of the ultimate players for the ultimate game, PUBG Mobile. Larson's just face palmed. He wants to run away from me right now.
The VSS is the greatest, guys.
There we go. To make it clear, the VSS is a great gun for me personally. It's not the greatest gun for everyone, and everything Larson has just said is completely true when it comes down to it. And what might be completely true is Magic looking for an opportunity to take a potential, not back-to-back wins, but just back-to-back solid placements here as they're already within the circle. They've got a good position to play off, and they started off with that nice early kill for themselves.
These zone teams were split between the river to the north and to the south side. So the south side has a lot of compounds, has a lot of terrain to play from. But if you go up to the north, just northern area here between Severnia and Yasnaya, it's also open. You barely have anything to play from. So there's a lot of diversity in the zone, just depending on where the next couple of circles is gonna go.
Yeah.
And personally, that the severity ending, I hate it just because there's so few spots to play. It's just, I mean, this Erangel is really, really balanced, but that is one of the areas where it's so scarce that you just can't play basically anywhere unless you have a compound.
Now Epic, they got away with a lot of kills on the previous game in Sanhok. Now here, when we look at what they can do this time around, they're going to be looking for the placement points alongside it. They're going to want to step things up as Rosq jumping straight into Magic. Ray's going to get knocked down and Master's backed away. This is an interesting breach. It was a 2v2 split into it. A lot of damage being done. Ray's just eliminated instantly. And Master said, I'm running. I don't want to take this fight. I haven't got my teammates close by. And Rosq have full control of everything that is going on.
That's really well played for Rosq in the sense that they're outside the zone, right? They were rotating, but they were so close to each other that they were able to back each other up immediately, right? When you
Smart
drive
teamwork.
with you and your friends, like, you can often have quite a big gap in between you. But these guys, even on the rotations, when they're rotating outside of the safe zone, they play together as a team, and it shows why they've done so good in these semifinals.
I think they just maybe realized some of their flaws with the kind of way they were splitting up and how they were working. And then they've said, all right, if we really do want to make it through and we want to get to the regional finals, well, this is what we have to do now. And Rosq, if they keep this up, there will be one of those teams I expect to see in the regional finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're doing anything crazy, right? They're just doing the bread and butter basics. But if you just keep doing the basics, you can get so far.
Now, other teams looking to get so far is going to be Ultra, TQ, B13, Rosq are close to making their way, and they're hot on the heels of the MG players. But MG are now split up. Look at Sade Fear, and then we've got the final player, Master, all the way at the back. He had to run away from Rosq, and now with this new circle popping, he is completely outside of it.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting here that they didn't manage to group up because the playing was good for them, right? But they've spent this much time looting, not regrouping, would seem a little bit odd to me. When you're doing these split loots, you need to be able to team up with all your members and recover. And also TQ, they looted Primos. They were the first team to leave the airplane, and they were early at their loot spot, but they have spent about 9 minutes in Primos before they decide to move. They're gonna come in really late here.
A late rotation, a little bit of extra damage done. Meds that will certainly have to be spent, but it's all about making sure they can get themselves inside that circle where a lot of teams are going to be around that area, especially the side they're going to come in from on that western, what kind of southwestern side?
Eclipse here having to run himself all the way over to the Warrior Town because he got breached by Ace. I would imagine he should have had a vehicle he can drive away in, but
Yeah.
he made his escape. Safe and sound. DM here. They landed in Rosq. What I would like to see here, which just might be a little bit greedy, is you can split these compounds, maybe 2 and 2, and then you can take a little bit more control over the zone. But opting to play it safe, that compound they're in, it is very big, it's very hard to hold, even with 4 people. There's a lot of angles where you can get breached from.
Oh, Romania and Ultra very close to each other. Obviously, Ultra did lose a player early on. Then they all moved over to Millie. They've got themselves looted up. But whatever engagements they take now, it has to be very calculated when it comes to it because they are going to be a disadvantage against most teams here. But overall, they've got themselves in a very central position, which means depending on unless we get a hard shift to one direction, they will most likely stay at least within or close to the circle.
Oh yeah, and a lot of these teams, they're just going to be okay with wherever they're given, right? These teams coming in late, they're going to be like, yep, we're going to play the edge. We see M19, Ace, DM, Romania, Ultra. All these teams that want to move super early, they have a central spot now. But being super central can actually work against you.
Matic from DM. We talked about how aggressive DM was, just continually taking fights to teams in the previous days. Well, this time around, they found BML, who's managed to get the knockdown onto it. Headshot able to come in there, but is it going to be a finish off? Oh, look at the distance that they've done it at as well. That's pretty impressive. That's one for the books.
DM here, not afraid to take fights, but it does mean that they have to use some meds, some armor this early on, which always hurts a little bit, but I mean, you want to shoot at stuff. It's not funny to just sit and camp, James.
It's true. It's true. They do want to just like, oh, okay, we'll keep ourselves going. We want to keep ourselves on our toes and make sure that we are ready for any action that may come our way. As Epic and Magic are quite close by, and Spear at least, he's maneuvering the car. He's going to make sure he's put it into a spot where they can quickly make an escape if they do need to find that option in there.
Yep.
And that's where it's smart, right? If you do position the cars correctly, you can use them as part of your fortified defense of your compound.
To me, this early on, you want to position your vehicles so they can't get hit, right? So sure, later on you want to use them for cover, but at least until you don't need them anymore, you want to keep them in a spot where they can't get shot at, where they won't lose tires, etc., etc. You want to try to keep them as healthy as possible.
Losing those tires is less than ideal. As we saw the circle truly center up there, over towards school as well. And that's where the majority of our teams did decide to sit, including Ultra, who was down one man.
MG here, though. Gotta shift away from them, right? It went straight to the center, went over to the school, to the apartments, to the hill. That is probably known for Potato Hill, because if you open the map, it looks like a big potato on it.
Oh, potato.
I call it Potato Hill.
Yeah, it's definitely Potato Hill.
Ace here opting to rotate towards Rosq. They were in a decent spot, but they want a little bit more position here.
OMGG just landed some shots onto Fish Scale as he was trying to rotate around. He's met back up with his team at the top, though. And that's the thing, some of the OMGG players, despite them not always having the best placements, they do have that individual ability
Is
to really
OMGG
rock
all
out
four
some of them.
alive? Are they all four alive for one game?
Yes!
Oh, wow! This is the first time in the semifinals where you see them all four alive into Circle 3 almost.
In their defense, because they didn't have a
I know.
substitute player yesterday. This is the thing for anyone who didn't watch yesterday. OMGG had to play with 3 players for all their games, and they still walked away with a second place once?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they
Oh
had one
no,
good game.
TQ got blown up. Kuma as well. What is going on? The rotations and the spray downs and the long distance shooting. This is the problem, but luckily no teams were full in the cars, maybe just 2 players in each car potentially, and how that went down. The rest are potentially wiping out Welcome to the Lobby.
I think
What
they're
is
out.
going on with Welcome to the Lobby? That's down and out for them.
Welcome to the lobby. Lana Pachengi had center of the zone early, and somehow they've gotten eliminated now in 16th position.
We're not joking, guys. These are one of the best teams in our opening group stages. Welcome to the lobby. And they, this time around, this lobby's got even more hard to fight in and a very difficult set of teams to go up against on a regular basis. They've started to struggle more.
To put things into perspective, after 4 games, when some teams have played 8 games, they were still in the top 5.
Yeah.
They were
They were
ahead
fourth.
of the competition after they won. And today they just haven't shown any sign of life. They've had a few key moments early on, but they just can't convert it into anything to the late game. And now they're dead again really early on.
Sometimes you can just have one of those bad days, and it seems to be the way for Welcome to the Lobby, as they are our first team eliminated here on Erangel.
Hate to see it. And I really wish that I could I just want to know if it's is it a bad streak, is it bad momentum, but somehow they get taken out again. And look at the zone. I'm actually so happy with the zones we have today. There's so many hilltops. If this just goes a little bit to the south, we'll have another hilltop ending. And those are so much fun. I don't know. I love them. You don't see a lot of crazy play with vehicles. It's just whoever can shoot the best actually wins out the game. But if it goes anywhere to the north, whoever has the compound literally has a free shooting gallery. Everybody has to move out in the open with no cover whatsoever. And then you're just happy to have a compound.
I don't think that's the same supply drop, but we've seen a couple of MK14s now put on the floor.
Bam, 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 bam. I love that gun.
Is that your VSS?
I mean, sure. But it's really, really good to use as a red dot.
Oh my.
Full automatic.
Look over here. MG have kind of taken the compound, but they haven't cleared out all the floors yet. Romania are up towards the top. Ultra are still close by as well. School is crowded, and school will be in session very soon. It'll be a complete shooting range. And that's never what you want to see within a school.
I mean, they're just at the campus camping right now. Trying
Doing
to
some
avoid
homework.
doing their homework. Just slacking off right now. Seeing if they can cheat and stay alive a little bit longer before the circle makes them do the work.
Romania can definitely hear all this because they've not moved. They're like, oh, okay, someone wants to come to our spot. Well, we're ready for you. Take your time.
Epic here just barely getting into the zone. They do manage to keep their Daisy and their Buggy alive, but on this next rotation here, it might be really, really tough for them to find solid ground. And we see behind them that Team 7 is slowly making their way in from the hilltop.
OMGG still getting some kills up on there. Kuma found themselves just outside of school. And that's really nice for them. They don't have to rotate in at the moment. They're within the circle. They can sit in their position they're sat in for now.
Yep.
M19 as well in a similar spot, but they've got the high ground to work off. You can see Thanos scoping around, making sure he's aware of any teams that might try and sneak up in him, who might still be rotating in.
Yep, this
Ooh.
bottom 19 is in this really chill. You can keep your vehicles alive.
Wenzy. Okay, do you know that BML all sneaked around there? You can see some vehicles on the ground. You've got your teammates behind you.
Yeah, and BML needs to make their way into the zone, so I feel like more of Epic should put attention towards us.
Yeah.
Especially because BML here, they're making noise with the Buggy, with the Dacia, and they know there's team members around. But as far as we can see, it's only one of the Epic guys who's paying attention to it. And if he's alone there, he's just going to get run over, and then it's going to get really, really awkward for Epic.
DM using the rooftop to their advantage. It's a great place to shoot from as well. You've got nuclears on the other side. And you can see on their compound, they've got every single corner covered. They've got full control of everything that's going on around them. That's how you want to hold on.
Yep. And if BML overextends here, they're going to get shot by DM. They go a little bit more to the right, as we see on the screen.
Yeah, that's
Boom.
exactly what happened. Santos eating up the bullets. So much damage done towards him. Couldn't get the final shot to connect, but he's taken a lot of damage. Wenzy's trying to be flushed out by the grenades that are going off towards him. He will find himself knocked down by DM, though. The DM actually helping out the players of BML, who they already started to shoot at. Now the circle's doing damage, and they're just having to push forward. Spraying it out twice, tries to come in with a bit of a chance, but DM are going to find him, knock him down to the ground. And Epic, they are just thinking, oh, well, this were our kills. But no, DM are able to do both teams no service at all here.
And once again, right, you see BML, they were waiting until they were in the blue. They could have made this move 1 minute, 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They could have fought Epic straight up, but they wait till they get pushed to the blue, they don't make a decision, and that ends up costing them, right? They had no chance of ever getting in because they were fighting in the blue.
Costly mistakes that I'm sure they'll learn from as Rosq meet into OMGG, who have got a bit of cover here from their vehicle in the trees nearby. Styx is just out in the open, and this is a shooting gallery. All four players going for the shots, constantly trying to hit them, but they're not managing to get any further knocks just yet. They're looking for it. That res could come back in. More damage being done there as OMGG. They don't seem to want to hold back just yet, but they do now need to move into this circle.
I feel like they might move in too fast. And when you're in the forest side like this, you can take your time with doing it. But look at this. Barely any of the apartments are in right now. It's just one, maybe a quarter of the other one. And all these teams are clashing right now. How many? Okay, let's take a bet real quick. How many teams can be in one apartment, James?
Well, I'd say 4. There's a lot of them here at the moment. There's a lot of footsteps Ultra are going to be hearing. ASC are ready for him to push down, but where do you go? Where do you turn from here? We saw one of the Kuma players get knocked down, as I believe they're just on the very edge of the circle, but they should be able to bring him back up. But this is just a waiting game. Who's going to make the first mistake? Who's going to get pushed out the circle and have to leave their position?
Everyone but Ultra and Ace right now have to make a move. So this is going to be bonkers. Another team that are trying to make a move was OBS here, so I believe they're pretty eliminated. OMGG, they're trying to push onto the compound. B13 is having none of it. Taking lots of shots. OMGG is coming up to the building, so but B13 playing together as a team, not allowing to get knocked here by anyone. And OMGG, they're down to 2. They're slowly trying to make their way in. But I'm sure as soon as B13 recovers here, they're going to re-engage.
They're down to 3. We didn't see God just on the side. He is still up, but they have lost one player. B13 have got the really nice spot overall as they gave up the bigger compound, moved into the second one on the left-hand side, means they can hold on to this. Rosq, they've given up that fight over there, and they're still just down in the back lines. But at least it means all of them are just about within this circle. But these nades, trying to flush them out, isn't actually working in their favor. And God looks to try and return some himself. There's a bit of the battles going on between Rest, MG, Ro, Ultra. This is crazy. They're all fighting in their own apartments here. This is the apartments from hell by the looks of it, but not actually the team I'm talking about this time, just in how you're having to deal with it. ASC looking to go on a bit of cleanup duty, doing the damage onto Rest there.
I believe that's all of Rest out, so we're down to just 2 teams in the same apartment again. But look at that! 2 teams per apartment. Romania and Magic's sharing, Rest and Ultra sharing. None of these teams are looking super healthy.
Oh my god.
Ultra here spotting Epic, but they're all inside of the shack, safe for now. And we can see on the minimap, the guys from Epic, they're safe inside, but everyone from the apartments, Kuma from the yellow house, they'll have to move down, and the people up on the hill, they'll have to go further down.
DM still lighting up the scoreboards, this time onto Rosq, and they're just going straight in for the eliminations. It's kills galore. As the other Romanians are still at the bottom of the apartments with MG above them, but Master finds himself getting knocked down.
Moloko again with the VSS. This has to be his favorite weapon. Every game we see him using it.
Moloko, you are my brother in arms. You are my VSS buddy. I'd like to see you get some more kills on the board. You have one already. As Roji's moved his way up here onto Epic. If he comes in blasted, that's exactly what he looks to do. Straight clean up for him, but he also gets tagged up. That's less than ideal. He gets found out by Ultra.
Everybody here is being funneled out. Magic do take down Romania, but now Ultra has to get out. Ace is also trying to snake their way in. Ultra taking shots onto Magic here, and I believe eliminates them in the 9th position. Ace here taking shots onto Ultra, and actually managed to get all of them. Ace, the last remaining survivor from his team and from that entire warfare at the apartments.
BagXy is going to be that solo hero for his team. Kuma still have one player in it as well. It's Tabsy in the back lines, but he is just outside of the circle, I believe, so he should be able to make his way in. He's actually taking shots onto DM here. There's not a team I want to challenge from afar. It's DM. All I've seen from them is kills, 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 and they are currently up at 12.
Yeah, they've been able to just sit down here, hold their position, and they now control the entire north side of the zone, besides just the one solo player left from Arrow Square.
You said you like these hilltop endings, but it's kind of leading towards ending on a slide down of it as well.
But this is what we said, right? DM, they're a team that loves to fight. And look at them. They have control over the entire high ground, and they're just fragging out.
Tabsy, no. Oh my god.
No. Keep going, keep going. You're
A
not
little
in
bit
yet,
further,
Tabsy.
bro.
No, come on. Go. No. Tabsy!
Ah! What is the... Oh, that's last and hitting the desk.
Two games in a row. It's basics. Don't die in the blue.
Oh, man. The thing is, it wasn't like he just ran into the blue to let himself not be killed by someone. He was actually trying to stay within it and still failed. Oh, my man. It's
well,
not
they
what you
do
wanna
manage to
see.
get top 6, and probably with a few kills, but Kuma, you can't mess up the basics.
We have M19 with 4 players and 2 kills. 99 with 4 players and 12 kills. Ace with 6 kills and 1 player left alive. Rosq with 4 kills and 1 player left alive. OMG with 5 kills and 1 player left alive. These guys have wiped out most of the lobby, but who's going to come out on top? Rosie's trying to hang strong, and it's amazing that M19 have still managed to keep this many players left alive, because they seem to have been in many engagements where it didn't look strong for them.
Oh yeah. We do see the snakes here from Baxi and Andy. They just want to stay alive, so this is probably going to go down between M19 and DM here. And maybe, just maybe, it looks like the snakes are closer to ambushing M19 than anyone else.
Even the supply drop's slowly snaking down the hill.
But what we can see in the map here is M19, they do have the zone, so they're spreading out now, trying to deny any of the other team's entrance. Oh no.
Wow, the spray coming out from Andy. He gets 1 knock, but he's instantly finished off by Matic. But Thanos will pick up War for him, which puts DM at a bit of a disadvantage to play with here. They've got rocks for cover, but they're going to struggle to push out. Roji is low on health. Can they pick him off? Thanos finds himself knocked on the floor. And this is where DM reigns supreme. This is where they feel most comfortable having to take these fights. And the fact that Nukas is going to be able to get this would be huge. OMGG still out in the end. He's definitely not going to step up and challenge it. But in the meantime, this is all fresh level 3 gear coming into his hands.
DM is still not inside of the zone. They're trying to make their way in. We see Nukes connecting the shots with his Noodle 3 stuff. He didn't pick up an accurate gun. Medic, with the help of his teammates, he's pushing closer. Almost gets taken down. But he's stopping Salka from pushing forward, and he was trying to stop the rest. They do manage to get the rest going here as Lightning is picking up Thanos with the help of smoke grenades. You can see DM, they're trying to take more and more ground.
Oh no, OMGG's been found and Roji's the one to get it done. All the players of M19 have been res back up. but they are heavily under pressure. Matic's going to be found out in the open. Gnarly's the next one to nearly get sprayed down, but he's able to hold strong and fire back. The refrag comes in, but the revives are going to be problematic. Sorka going in for it. Nukas has done a little bit of damage off towards him. He's low on health, and instantly a very quick play coming out from Sorka, and what an impeccable play from M19. They take the win, the confidence is there, and despite not having anywhere close to the amount of kills as DM, they bided their time and they made it work, Larson.
First, second place for M19 today. They have showed up to play.
And they know that they're saying, it didn't look like we were going to regionals. Now we're making it very likely that we can get to regionals.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
there's still plenty of games to be played. We're just going to be at the halfway mark at the end of today. But M19, they came to play, and they came to play today in a big way.
Oh, yeah. But again, DM, they were a little bit quiet today, showing up on Erangel like they always do. I don't know how many kills they ended up with, but a second place for them. OMGG, they need all the points they can get. They do manage to get third place, but it's a snake performance. They don't have a lot of kills.
Yep, and that's the same old for OMGG. That's the way they seem to get it done, but it kind of worked for them. Tabsy, I got to say, my brother, we love you. We give a lot of praise to when you guys can try and work it out, but we're also going to be hard on you when you do things like that. 2 games in a row where you could have had better placements, and you just dropped the ball at the last minute.
I mean, to be fair, even here, right, there's no guarantee that Tabsy from Kuma would have gotten a higher placement, but denying a point here to the blue, which he didn't do intentionally, but even if he did it intentionally, it would have been bad, right?
Yeah. I would rather see him try and go for it than what he just did at the end, and it didn't work out.
But the worst thing was he was trying, but he failed at it. It's, yeah, tough to see, right?
Now for DM, they would have been so confident to have this, but I think when they lost Warfarin, where OMGG managed to knock him down and finish him off in the end, that was the big loss for them. But even then, DM99 still only 1 point behind M19 just because the sheer amount of kills they managed to get. OMGG are going to be happy with the 24. Kuma again, though, that's 2 games within the top 8 overall. So they're going to be sat there thinking, all right, we'll accept this. So I think it's been 2 games within top 8 and a second place now for Kuma. That's a big day for them in comparison to what we saw previously.
Rosq manages to sneak their way into the top 5 yet again.
As per usual.
Oh, yeah. And DM99, they needed this, right?
Yeah.
To solidify their spot. They were a little bit below the other people from the group B and group C in the tops in terms of like top 5. But now they're closing up. They're going to be maybe even ahead of them. And I believe with this, M19, there's no way they're not in the overall top 8 as well.
And this is where it's scary for a team like Welcome to the Lobby, because overall, they are not now in a position where they can sit there and say, well, how are we fighting this out going forward? Because, yes, they've still sat in 4th place, but we were saying it. I openly said they're probably going to be number 1 again because all they need is 1 good game. Well, so far, they've had 3 pretty rough games. And we only have 1 remaining, Larson. I'm a little bit worried for them.
Yep. And what I'm looking at here is like the bottom teams. We look at Queso, Ace, Kuma, FeelThePain. It's like 10 points, which is like
so
one
close.
bad game and you're out of it.
Yep.
Luckily, they have 9 more games to play, some of these teams.
Oh my God. DM99 have risen to 2nd place now from 5th. M19 from what, 8th or 7th have gone to 3rd?
No. They weren't.
They weren't in the top 8?
They were below. They were probably 9th or 10th.
What? That's ridiculous. That is actually ludicrous.
So
that's super good. That just proves how 1 good day can change everything around for you. And Welcome to the Lobby now in 8th place are going to be sat there thinking, okay, the sweat's starting to show, boys.
But we can also see how close it is. Welcome to the Lobby, 8th spot, 134 points. Avangar number 1, 160 points. It's 26 points, splitting apart number 1 and number 8.
And all that is literally 1 good game, and it will be theirs to walk away with. Fun times being had by a lot of these teams, but I got to say straight off the bat is, welcome to the lobby. We praised you so much, but what has happened now when it came to these final games today? Because I'm looking at them and thinking, you were okay. You were supposed to be number 1, and now you're down right at the bottom of the top 8. This is not what we expected from these guys.
And I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a top 8. There's this, how do you say it, loose in the terms that you can usually see maybe 3 teams that are solidified in top 8. But here it's like less than a win in points in between the number 1 to number 8. It's usually like number 1 and 2 has like 1 or 2 games in the lead over the other teams.
Well, if you guys at home want to follow everything to do with the Club Open 2019, all you got to head over to is clubopen.pubgmobile.com. There's standings, there's VODs, there's the schedule, there's all the information on the other regions, and also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the reason you want to do that is because you may miss some of the games. You may be hearing what we're saying and saying, wait a second, that sounds like a fun game. We didn't actually get to see all of it. Well, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch all of that. And what we're going to do is catch you after this break. We've got one more game coming your way, and welcome to the lobby. Need to show up. Only time will tell, and we'll find out after the break. Hey, Igor.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night. The newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
M19 jump up the scoreboards and get themselves 2 wins for today. And it's the final day of week 3 of our semi-finals here for the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2019. And if these guys can deliver in any way, even a top 4, top 6 finish on our final game of Erangel, my oh my, that scoreboard is going to look a lot more different than what we ever expected here, Larson.
Oh, yeah. And I said this right before the break. When you played this many games, each team has now played 7 to 8 games. You usually see a clear winner. But here, like, I guess it's like the top 10 is very, very, very close.
Now, I saw people, right, in chat and stuff discussing, oh, well, this region's better because they've got a team on 200 points. Actually, that makes your region technically worse because a region where multiple teams are winning and also having good performances, that's a stacked region of teams that could really pull it out of the bag. And at the moment for Europe, we're looking at, what, at least another 6 teams that we didn't think would even possible to get in within it, now challenging for one of the #1 spots. I love it. This is what you want to see. True competitive PUBG Mobile here from some of the best teams within our region. And Avangar right now are thinking, all right, where are we hoping for at the end of today? Can we still sit in top 6? Because all of these teams could have a good performance in one game, especially on a map like Erangel, and Avangar are right back down.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find themselves in the top 5 here. I don't think 5 teams are going to beat them. I mean, it's possible, but to get 15, 20 points, you still need to have like a top 5 finish.
Yeah.
Or a lot of kills.
And a team that does love to get a lot of kills is Deformia Meditari 99. Those guys are racking up the scoreboards in multiple games. Super hyper-aggressive plays from them and a very interesting style. Yes, they didn't get the win, but they just always seem to be engaging with teams. Now, Magic got themselves up to 10th spot now. Had a couple of good games coming out from them overall. Kuma find themselves within the top 16, which is the dream for them, especially with how things started. And if they can have one more game here, like you said, just to how close these points are, they could be in a very good spot heading into week 4. And also, I know, Kuma, you guys watched our VODs because you're always tweeting at us and letting us know. So I think that if Kuma can just take in some of the advice that Larson gives, not so much me, Larson's the smart one, I just meme about the VSS.
I mean, what if you have them all for use VSS and see how it goes?
Kuma, please, one day, maybe just everyone VSS. Once you've 100% qualified, 4 players, 4 VSSs, and I guarantee you win.
But I just looked at the leaderboard, right? Number 9 Rest had 119 points, and the first place has 160. That's only 40 points. That's a win and 10 kills.
Easily.
Between 9th to 1st. Having this close of a group is unheard of, right?
No, it is a very different situation than we didn't see it in the group stages, right? We saw it close, like on that end kind of portion of it. But remember when we were literally trying to calculate it all at the very end of group stages. But here at the top, it was like, yep. And now it's all flipped on its head.
And you have a good point, right? You said if one team had like 200 plus now, they would just be the best in the region.
Yeah.
But what we've seen, right, I feel like a lot of these teams that are on the top 8 right now, they've actually played pretty well. And they haven't had that many bad games in these 8 games. They maybe had 1 or 2 bad games.
Yeah.
But they're still right up there. So I just think, as you said, the competition in these top 8, even top 9 now, is actually crazy.
And this is where the format is something that I'm really a big fan of and I think could be applied to every level of PUBG, not just PUBG Mobile, because yes, okay, the kill points and the placement points we thought would work out in an interesting way.
Yeah.
But what we have certainly seen is that actually having Group A play Group B and then Group A play Group C and do it this style has been very interesting in seeing how teams adapt and how they work their way in, because every time is not a safe spot or a safe drop, and it forces them to do the research. Because remember, when you get a lobby where it's just 16 teams and they play 20 matches back to back, eventually they're just like, cool, this is our spot, this is your spot, this is our spot, blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of works out, and then you just base it off of the circles. Here, we get a lot of interesting moves, and also the PUBG Mobile players, as I keep saying, they every now and again decide to turn into this position where they say, this plane doesn't look so good, we're going to move our zone and we're going to drop over here.
Yeah, very similar plane to the first one. Might be a slight bit more north. We'll have to see. Probably going to be 4-5 teams in the Georgia area again. Hopefully Ultra can get out with all 4 people alive and not randomly drop towards Vikendi alone. Mr. Stark, I believe it was. TQ are going towards Rosq. BML is following close behind them. DM, they'll probably go to Rosq again. We'll see Romania around the school area. And wait, look at this, James. On the western side, BML is in not Georgia Bolt, but also at the west coast down south. So BML is doing a big split here. I don't know why, but they're doing it. So
Hopefully, Ultra.
But look at Santos. BML, he's landing in Yasnaya now. They're literally split across the entire map.
They've gone for the Kuma play.
Uh-huh.
Will it work out? Ultra this time, though, need to make sure they keep everyone alive. Get themselves into the position where they say we can grab vehicles and go military. And then have an easy way into military, and if they keep the vehicles, which they should because there's no one else to contest it, then they come up on the eastern bridge and work their way up towards Milta and stuff, potentially shelter, prison, that kind of area, and take some space where actually this could work out really nicely for them.
Yes, I'm looking at BML. I don't care what. There's just been like one by one. What is your strategy, BML? Are you just like emergency plan? We need placement points. We're not going to try as a team anymore. Just everybody split. We get top 5, we qualify. Okay, that was maybe a little bit rude, but it's like what it says to me, right, when you spread across the entire map, is that you're completely given up playing together as a team, and then you're just trying to go for those placement points. But I don't know if there's something they practiced. If it was a really good strategy, I think you would see more teams be doing it. I don't think it's super valuable, or valid is the right word I'm looking for. Just because it's not something a lot of teams do. Romania changing their job spot, right? I can't remember where they were in the first game, but now they've upped it to hot job in Vikendi together with Welcome to the Lobby.
And Welcome to the Lobby need to be careful.
But wait, Romania, they had school and apartments alone last game. It literally ended there. Why would they change it up from this game to the last one? The airplane was almost exactly the same.
Yeah, there's no real reason for it.
They had a good landing spot. They had a fantastic landing spot. Why are they changing it now?
Larson is triggered once again.
I don't know. I don't understand, James. What are they doing?
At this point, I think they're doing it just to trigger you. They're like, how can we make Larson go crazy? I know. We'll do something that makes zero sense. As BML, they may be split up, but he's found a knock onto one of the Kuma players. Surely he won't be able to get away with the kill. Oh my god. It happens, Kuma. Where's your teammates? Where's the backup?
Kuma, they're doing the split around the... No, they're actually here together. Just, okay. Unlucky. It happens. I like how they're all scared running away, but which is fine. I just don't really know how we always get into these crazy situations. And I thought, all right, if BML managed to take down one Kuma member, he's going to be all alone, nobody in the near vicinity.
And then he just gets finished. But no, his whole teammates are there.
There's 3 Kuma teammates in the vicinity. How does he end up doing that? Oh, well. But yeah, Romania, like if we look, I can see in the minimap, there's nobody in school in Rosq. Why would they go Pochenki when they had a really good landing spot? I'm so confused. Arrow Square, they're chilling. They have Primos now. We did see them drive by Primos in the last game, and I can't remember who they run over. But no, I'm saying Primos Lipavka, sorry. But they decided to land now here this time around. So a lot of these teams are changing it up. And Romania here, they didn't even up to fight for Pochenki. They're all running away now. On foot, on towards this forest.
It was a good sign for Welcome to the Lobby, given all things that when they have taken engagements, it's not worked out in their favor.
I'm just confused what's happening this game. I tried to make sense of what happens from like game to game. Tried to say, all right, these teams have these tendencies, they're doing this and that. And I was like, what are you doing, guys?
It is one of these games where you try to make sense of things and you sit there and say, well, logic's gone out the window, we throw the notes away, we drop all information we held onto before, and we see what is the best thing that can happen here. And the best thing that can happen for some teams is literally placement points when we look at BML.
I disagree, right? I think you can always do better as a team and not just solo snake performances. But we'll just have to see. Maybe they know better, right? They're the pro players, we just here commentating. We don't know anything, James.
Well, Kuma did it at the very beginning of the group stage. It didn't work out for them. They quickly abandoned this strategy. Maybe BML are thinking, we'll try to do it in our own way.
Yep. DM, once again, they're always one of the first teams to rotate. They have the timings down. They want to put themselves in a good spot. And potentially just kill people for the loot, because they do that very, very effectively. Ultra, no matter how they play this, they love the airbase. They here. They want all that juicy loot.
That's the extreme amount of juice, and hey, rightly so, because if you can get that extra bit to help you all the way through, then it does make things a little bit easier for you, just in getting, and this is the thing, right, people talk about what weapons you can get, but for me, I can deal with having just an okay set of weapons to play with, but also as long as I get the armor, I get the helmet, and also get the meds, then I'm very happy. More importantly, if I get utility and the smokes, then I'm set there thinking, all right, no matter what situation I'm thrown into, I've got an option to get me out of it. Moloko, have you got that trusty VSS, my friend?
I'm sure his teammates will give it to him if they find one.
I wonder if they do actually see one and they're like, VSS here, Moloko!
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the thing. Like, you call out snipers to tip in weapons. Like, does somebody really prefer something when you run over, just say, hey, buddy, it's over here. Come get it.
And that is the dream. As okay, it's only phase 1. The circle damage isn't terrible. TQ still getting a bit of looting going up. Carrick's probably going to pick his teammate up who doesn't have a vehicle.
Yep.
And make sure that they can rotate in successfully. DM working their way in as well. They've put themselves down, hidden in the bunker.
Not again.
Oh no. Oh no. How does this keep happening? Welcome to the lobby. Literally have the roughest game I have seen out of anyone today who has been a top team contenders.
Right, welcome to the lobby. You don't, but this is what I mean, right? Welcome to the lobby. Maybe a team that expects people to play in a certain pattern. But Romania just randomly hot drops.
Yep.
It's randomly running in the forest and feed like 7 minutes into the game. Where Welcome to the Lobby right now is getting contested and fought. Doesn't make any sense, right?
Oh,
If you
OBS
want to
has
try
jumped
to
in.
analyze it, you're just like, what is going on? Why are we losing people here?
And this is the thing. Romania and Welcome to the Lobby jumped to the same spot. Romania backed away and looked like they were disengaging from everything. And then Welcome to the Lobby now come to rotate into the new circle. And Romania were just like, oh, hi, guys. Run and gun. No problem at all. And Welcome to the Lobby once again going to have to go for a very passive and defensive play if they want to stand strong and fight out in the rest of this. As Glumgod's going to go down as well. And this is Romania just picking up the pieces. Scream and Jonathan up top, but how much can he really get done? Glumgod's trying to avoid being taken down here, but they just run around the rocks, easily finish him off. And once again, Welcome to the Lobby. They just can't get any luck going their way.
Oh, fortunate for them, they had a really good day one, but today, if they keep this up for next week, they might not make it.
That's seriously scary considering they were in 4th place after 4 games. Screen's trying to hold off. He's just going to go instantly in for the kill if he can, but that tree doesn't provide that much cover, and it's got 2 players behind it. Rambo's taking some extra damage, but Screen is able to get another knock on the board. Welcome to the Lobby are using that individual skill, trying to hold players at bay, and now only Rambo remains. He's quickly trying to bring up Tudor, but Welcome to the Lobby. Screen's just said, I've had it for this. I'm fed up of going down early. I believe in myself. I believe in my team, and we will try and make this work.
I was surprised it worked out, right? Having 2 guys behind the same tree is very bad, because one nade or just people flanking can ruin your life very, very quickly. We do see Jonathan's get taken down, and the Screen against 2 here. They know where he is right now, so if they have any more nades, 1 nade can finish Welcome to the Lobby right here, right now. Nade's a little bit short though. Screen is can I go back for the rest? No. You need to take this fight, sadly.
Screen again getting the knock.
It was a finish.
Oh, we got a finish there, so it wasn't another knock-in, so there's still 2 players for him to deal with. Thank you, Larson. Screen, there's only so much he can do. He's looking during that smoke to see if he can bring up his fallen teammate who's just behind him to try and take this out. Kuma are fighting. Kuma are going down, though.
Oh, no. Kuma's down to just 1. They had this compound here. B13 came later, I believe. And Kuma, they're just playing it so passive that B13 is able to get into the compound and take control of it. And we do see that Jonathan gets knocked and finished, and this is Screen out. And Welcome to the Lobby goes down in 16th place again.
This is not what you wanted to see. I'd never expected one team to drop off so much. Kuma have also been eliminated, already down to 14 teams. We're only at the 10-minute mark, Larson.
Yep.
This has been an interesting game in just how they dropped out the plane. And now we're in a position where we're sat there going, what on earth is going on once again?
James? I don't know.
Oh, my God. How does this happen?
You get the BML strat. Some of them are teaming up on the northwestern side. We do see Santos. He dropped in match and he's still there. And as of Circle 2, it is favoring him a lot. We see all the way down to the south. We have Billy TB. He's chilling outside the zone. He's still looting, but probably.
And also, in the west of Yasnaya, where BML are about to go through, there's a supply drop they might be able to take. That's interesting.
Rosq, they're down in the shelter. They're keeping the cast down there. I'm always the guy, right?
Oh, no.
I was about to say this. I don't want to play inside of the shelter in case somebody decides to camp outside. And you can see DM here. They're split up 2 and 2, knowing that Rosq is inside. But they're not at the 3rd exit. If DM here, they could camp them in. But Rosq do have an exit near them that's not being camped, luckily for them.
What a play this could be from DM to pick up some easy kills. It's a waiting game, that's for sure. As we look at what's coming in the airdrop, some nice loot there overall. All good for a bit of close range fight if you need to, and BML were close to potentially being able to pick it up. There was no other team nearby.
Magic here, probably doing a bit of a split. I love this compound. It's top of the hill, you can see everything. It's super easy to defend. Billy here, just barely making it into the zone, saying, hey Ultra, I'm here. I'm super scary. He even changed weapons, so first he had an AK and now second he had an M4. He's like, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm also here. Guys, go away.
It's that fight for control. It's that fight for space. As Carla has grabbed the supply drop by the looks of it. If we look up towards the northwest of Yasnaya, as the new circle pops, we're still covering off shelter, a bit of prison in there as well. Mansion as at the same time for that final BML player, as DM once again back on the fragging, back on the hunt, and this time they're going to be picking off some of the Ultra players. Gnarly's trying to get it done onto them as they've got the vehicle, but they might be just too far away now. And they're just forever shooting. DM never give up. They're unrelenting in their complete aggression against other teams.
Do you remember before last circle we had two of the Bemyloot members teaming up west of Yasnaya?
Yes.
They've now split up again. They're committing to being one by one by one. They do not want to be anywhere near each other. Do you think
Ultra
that
eliminated. Ultra just got eliminated.
that's gonna be the worst position like thus far in the tournament?
Wow.
Tough rotation from them. They came super late out of the military zone, and this time around the southern side of the circle has just been really, really full of teams, and they didn't have an easy way in. The way you approach this is you have to go slower, right? You scout, you stop on top of a hill, you look ahead of you. But here they managed to drive past DM, they drive past TQ, and then they drove into a third team and died, I believe is what happened. Just poor rotating, not taking your time, playing it safe.
And DM as well, right? They are potentially just looking to fight all the time, but with them being so open on the outskirts of shelter, it means that the fact they're not inside doesn't provide all the cover that they would ideally want when it comes to it. M19, again, a team that's had 2 wins already. Could we see our first team throughout PUBG Mobile Europe to get 3 wins in a row? It's certainly a possibility because these guys, they have brought their A game.
I mean, getting 3 out of 4 wins and a second place, that would be impressive. I'm not gonna say they will, because that is a very hard task to do.
Yeah, massively. It's a long way away from happening.
Oh yeah.
Billy got himself a vehicle. OMGG trying to fire into him, but M19, they come alive and they're looking to wipe out OMGG, who are trying to hold on to this compound, and they've done 2 knocks from afar as well.
Could
Do
you
M19
imagine?
want to pressure this?
I want to see M19 just pull up. It's 2 knocks. They could take out a team and getting even more control over the zone, but they're like, yeah, we're playing it safe. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? You would risk potentially going out early if you commit to a fight at this point.
VSS. It came on the scoreboard. It's a different player using it. I'm always happy to see it. But what you're not happy to see if you're an OMGG fan is the pressure that's been applied to them from M19 from afar. Roji's just not giving up either. He's like, are you moving? I can see you. I'm going to try. He's actually still hitting shots. Surely you don't challenge M19 from this position.
No, because if you get a knock, you don't convert it into anything, right? And look who's getting the zone. M19. Looking hot to potentially get their 3rd win today. Potentially. We still have a few more zones, but they have been able to predict all of these rings ahead of time.
We've got TQ, we've got M19, DM just on the outside as well. And look at these supply drops. Is that going to force anyone to cheekily try and grab it? As we're in phase 4, it's still a possibility. It's not that close, but there'll be a lot of teams rotating around towards this position, which is the scary factor that comes into it.
DM, if they feel like it, they could potentially go for it. But I mean, it's always a risk, you know, going out in the open to take these side drops. I'd probably go for it. That sounds like fun. Just use a smoke or 2, you're good to go. Epic here, getting fined by Ace Champion.
ASC
They're down to just 1 leader, and he's almost dead.
Leader low on health, trying to back away, but he's found instantly, and he won't be living to fight another day as Epic get eliminated. 12 teams remain, and ASC continue their good performances across the day. They've not had the highest of placements, only their last game of Erangel, which looked good. I think it was, what, 5th or 6th overall, but they've just been fragging a little bit better overall.
Epic, though, one of the top teams coming in. They've had a rough beginning onto the semifinals. They're nowhere near the top 8 right now, I don't think. And they just keep going out early without showing much of a fight. It looks like they just keep getting kept caught in rotations. And that is something you have to look over. If your team, they're strong at fighting, you know how to win these fights.
Yeah.
You cannot just lose members in your vehicles, because that makes those fights infinitely harder. Look at how close Harley here is to
And there's still Rosq sat in shelter saying, circle's good, we don't need to move right now. And at this point, you might not even suspect anyone to be in shelter because there's no one's moved for so long.
Unless you saw them go in there, you have... But yeah, you're right. Like, even if you saw them go in there, you have no information where they are, so they can move around in all those underground tunnels.
Whew. You hear that high-powered shot go across from the OBS players, but they're also being fired back on. Tudor's been spotted out there by Gnarly. Makar's find himself a knock, and it's a headshot at that. We haven't been able to say Makar for a long time because this guy's not been getting the kills yet. OBS have had a slow day as well.
Yeah, OBS, one of the... I mean, they have one good day, and everything else has been kind of like so-so. But seeing Makar with the M24 showing some signs of life is very good for them. They are close to being eliminated here, and they need every point they can rack up as well.
This is where, for Rosq, they can just chill. They know kills aren't the thing they really need to just hold on to, but it is a good placement position to come in when they can jump out and potentially surprise a lot of the teams here. As BML Santos, he's still trying to get away. Carla's going to be eliminated, and I don't think there's going to be a teammate near him to make it work.
Teammates near BML? What do you mean? They're splitting up from each other.
The 1v1v1 isn't going to work out for him. Gnarly, though, he's just shooting at everyone. He's done some damage onto B13, finds himself the knock onto Fishscale. Now, Graham and Kingsman are close by, but it's going to be very hard because that circle damage is a little bit tougher now, and we'll soon be kicking it up again into phase 5. And my, oh my, the new circle goes for a hard shift up towards the northwest, and only ASE and MG are within it.
Ace is going to be loving life. They literally have control over the entire circle right now.
They're like,
M19
we've got it all.
Does going quickly, getting into a secure spot here. There's a little dip that you can sit on the hill where they can park their vehicles. And they're into the next zone. Very fast, very calm rotation from M19. DM here, they're doing a split rotation because Carly, he was busy fighting, right? So he's going to be left alone. See OBS, they're just clashing in the middle of the open hill. Not the greatest spot here. They should be getting shot at by the southern side of the zone. OMGG here should be getting kills. And also M19 starting to engage. They know where the vehicle is. They don't necessarily spot the players. You see, is that Kali from DM? Down on the right.
Thanos just spraying, praying, hoping he can get another knock on there. It's OMGG, who they've been fighting off against for the longest time here.
He did a lot of damage right there, connecting onto almost all of their team members.
Some of these players, their spray control is just insane.
Rosq is driving right in between Rosq and OMGG here. Might end up going down.
Romanians under pressure, and TQ are the ones that deliver it all towards them. Sade, he's up with Ray as the only players left alive on Magic, but he's hungry for some more kills. Sade looking for more, continues to spray it out. Makar's found a knock with a nade. This is just a crazy battle. M19 out in the open. They're willing to challenge anyone. They find Billy, and there's going to be no pickup for him either, because remember, everyone was split up.
Look at this. M19 find himself at the edge of the new zone. They will be able to clean up everything around them once the circle swings in. And if this stays on the southern side of the road, M19 might actually take the third win of the day. OMGG, they decided to go more north. It looks like they have 1 or 2 knock players already. Nothing great for them.
If you're Magic, oh my, it's just like, we're really stuck. We don't know where to look or turn. We've got DM on our heels. We've got teams on the just the left, right, and center of us. Everywhere we want to go, everywhere we want to look, there is a team around us somewhere.
Yep. DM had to leave Kali behind, so they're down to 3 now, but finding themselves in the zone. And if they clear out Magic, they have a lot of space to work with.
Now, OBS's position is good, but they're going to leave themselves vulnerable for a multiple-pronged attack. Third party could be a real issue for them.
Yeah, exactly. If they start to stand up to take a fight, there's a big chance they're going to be shot from multiple different angles, and you hate to see that, right? So they're just pincered now in between a couple of teams, and it's never a fun position to be in.
Because all it takes is 2 teams just barrel some nades up, and you're like, yep, we're caught.
We see the new zone pop. It lands right on top of OBS, M19, and I believe a bit of Magic. Okay, Magic's just out of it.
This is where it's actually crazy in how some of these teams have been able to rotate in. Like M19, they were holding their position, they had to push really far in. OMGG are actually challenging them back a little bit here. Thanos is going to get eliminated. He goes down. So OMGG are going to cause a bit of a problem here for M19. They're also going to chime in onto ASE. OMGG, they waited, they healed themselves up, they've been under pressure from multiple teams, and now they're just firing back.
I want to see the response from Ace and the other teams, because OMG, they're kind of in the open, right? But ASE, they just left themselves so exposed. I don't know who got the knock onto Ray, but DM, they're converging in towards Magic here. OBS is firing shots down upon them, making it harder for them to get into the zone. OMG, they finally have to move, but they managed to scare away all the other teams, so they have a lot of breathing room to just cross the street right now.
And that's actually huge from OMGG as Sade wants to hold on to this, but DM, they come round running and spraying, running and gunning, and it's no problem at all for them to pick up the pieces. A further few kills coming out for this DM team, but they have only got 3 players left alive, so they need to be cautious, and there's so much open area, there's very little cover for these teams to have. And Rest, what are you doing?
It.
Oh my god, he just went straight into the battle and instantly gets taken out. He's not going to have a good time. DM are the ones to pick up the frag. And this is not probably what he expected of how many teams were close by to that.
A little bit too fast if you want to send him with a car. You might want to stop at the edge and try to work instead of driving in between the middle of absolutely everything.
Now, ASC and OMGG have been battling back and forth now, which now benefits actually M19, who were trying to avoid being picked apart in the middle of that because they had been challenging for a long time. So this has kept them at bay for quite a while. And look, M19 are even going to pick up some of the pieces as well, as 7 teams now remain.
TQ coming from the top of the hill, getting a knock on towards DM. Nukes answering back though, and now they have to go for Rosq again. But at the meantime, Andy's right next to them, he's hearing this. OBS might also get interested in finishing out DM, knowing they could be a pain afterwards.
Champion with the trusty VSS, even going to get a revive off after achieving a knock. M19 at the bottom of the hill. Plenty of teams up above them, but this rotation has worked out well for M19. They've come all the way down the side, and they're going to be avoided at least for now. As Rosq come up into this, they believe after all that waiting they've played in that they can come in and shut down some of these teams, and that's exactly what they plan to do. As ASE are still battling away the rest of the rest players after we watch Lovza in just run himself in and get himself killed off very early.
And they managed to kill down 2 of the DM members. And Nuke surely sees where Andy is, but why is he not trying to take this fight right now?
Oh no, oh no. He comes out spraying. Nuke is on very low health, but he's actually going to manage to stay alive. The nade doesn't get him, and if he can heal himself up, he's going to be living the dream because people might just forget where he is.
Oh yeah. DM tried to get the rest up, but Andy stood up to almost finish off Nukes. We're down to 4 teams. OBS, they need all these points.
Look where Sorka's looking. If Sorka sees the ASE player first, manages to drop him. Yes, they're split up, so the res is going to be hard, but it's who's going to be able to fire the first shots off and get away with it.
Could you imagine M19 taking this? Either way, they've gotten first place, second place, and it's now in the top 4 with 3 people alive. What a day.
Very impressive. Showing that they can change it up and adapt and become a better team day in, day out. We spoke about M19 again, representing a prestigious organization from the CIS region. They needed to deliver, and that's certainly what they have done today. Now, Kotoyoyu, he's kind of waiting his time to go over the ridge. He knows he hasn't got to move anytime soon, and this is it, right? It's the time to strike. Good use of the Molotov, but is it going to reach far enough to get over towards the OBS
point of this
players?
Molotov is nothing, right? He doesn't see an enemy, he's just throwing it. And like, if you throw Molotov, you want to look towards where you throw it to see if people are moving away.
I think this is where they're scared on the placement positions. He sat there thinking, we're 4, we want to get a little bit further up.
But like, if he spots an enemy later on, he can use that Molotov to convert it into something, but here's just a complete waste, throwing it blindly, being a little bit panicked. This utility can literally win you or lose your games if you don't use it correctly.
Completely agree, Larson. As OBS is split, they've got very much center control here. JC's on the hunt for that final DM player. And this is what it is. Snakes in the grass. We said we didn't get many of these snake games. Well, our end 1 for the week will be fully snaked up. Maybe it's what we deserve after not getting them.
I'm a snake, follow me. And look at Baka! Flanking Nukes here. Spots him, and Nukes actually takes down Baka!
OBS now down to 3 players instantly, and this is exactly what they didn't want to happen. Having solo players pick 1 or 2 of their members off is never going to help them win this out. ASE heard what's going on, and look, they now start to get their challenge over the ridge. Again, we're throwing over utility with no real knowledge of exactly where to place it. M19 slowly snaking.
What's the point of throwing the flashbang if you don't try to peek with it? Ree! I'm sorry, James. Bax here gets spotted by Rogi. Rogi holding the flank.
If Rogue can get the elimination, that'd be huge, but he's able to get the reply knock for ASC, which means at least it's a refrag coming in. Yura is so close to Lightning. Who's going to spot out who first? OBS got to be so careful. Lightning's not even looking. He's got no idea what's going on. It's a true snake wading game. As he's been spotted out, Rogi's going to be seen, instantly taken out, but is Yura's position now known? Is anyone going to try refrag at M19? How are you going to play this? Lightning comes up, spraying away, going in for the kills. He gets it done, but JC's unable to respond. Now both the players left on OBS are close by. Lightning gets picked apart, and it's all going to be on to Sorka, who does manage to eliminate one of the ASE players. Gets his bandages on go, but that's all he's got. He has nothing else to work with. 3 teams remain, and ASC, they seem to be the ones who could lead this charge.
They're all just bruised and battered right now. Sulky, 1 HP, down to benches like I mentioned. Everybody's trying to make it work. But none of these teams are trying to go aggressive. They're just proning, hoping for the best. I would love to see some of these people take charge, but they have 10 seconds. It's going to be the last zone. This is just going to go towards the star. You don't necessarily know where it is. It's really hard for us to spot. But this is anyone's games right now. But OBS keeping a very keen eye towards the last member of M19. But if A spots this, that could be a big pain in the ass. As they see down Voicer here.
Champion getting the first one. He's getting some bullets fired off towards him. JC needs to be able to reply in some way. Sorka is loving what he's seeing and what he's hearing. He'll find the kill onto JC, but now he is in a 1 versus 2, and this is going to be very difficult for him to deal with. He only has bandages to play with. He has no utility from what we can see, but he does have a little bit more of a central position compared to what the ASE players have. Who's going to go for the king of the hill moment in this snake off in a 1v2? Sorka gonna try and use a smoke potentially. Does have it to his advantage. Maybe he could use it as a decoy. Throw the smoke out, pretend he's hiding in it, let them try and spray him down. The mind games could be strong. He's just firing off bullets here. Oh, God. On to champion. ASC champion stands up and delivers. Sorka goes down. And another 2nd place for M19. That's 2 wins, 2 2nd places, and a huge day for them. But ASC overall will be loving life. The fact they managed to take control of that at the end.
Oh, yeah. Champion going huge this game. They were in so many issues when OMG started to knock their players. But he managed to come out huge. 8 kills for him. M19... They're just playing the placement game. They got 6 kills in them.
He had a VSS. Part of the wins.
Yeah,
That's how he got it done.
One player that stood out for me this game was Nukes from DM.
Yeah.
His team was in so much trouble, but he managed to defend it off for so long. He took down Andy, getting what I believe is like a close to top 5 finish for them, when they could have gone down a much earlier.
Yeah, definitely so. And that's the thing. Some of these things, it comes down to you have to play the snake game smart. And yes, sometimes we don't like to see snake offs. It kind of ends a little bit flat at times. But I don't just mean them flat thrown on the ground. I mean flat as in it's not as hype. But you've got to play for these placement points. You've got to play it smart. And ASE, that's exactly what they did. They held that ridge at the end for so long. They waited it out. They took their time. They managed to even, okay, we saw them waste some utility and stuff. But overall, they played the fighting game, the gun game, very well at the end.
Yep. And that's how you do it. I mean, it's not exciting. I would like to see people just run around, frag out. But we're not playing public games here. We can keep mentioning these guys. They're trying to qualify for the finals here, where you can get top 2 in the EU regional finals. And if you get top 2 there, you start competing for $2.5 million throughout this entire year. The biggest prize pool for PUBG in history.
and that is what it's all about. That $2.5 million for PUBG Mobile. Insane for some of these players. Life-changing amount of money. And also a chance to solidify yourself at the very early stages of the competitive esports scene here for PUBG Mobile. You could be one of the best clubs within this scene and win the first Club Open of 2019. Only time will tell, but it is impressive even if you are just one of the top 16 teams in your region, given how many people play this game.
But we also know that there's a bunch of organizations looking to get into the scene, and a lot of these teams have a lot to prove. If you want to try to go pro, maybe make it a full-time rather than like a part-time or just something you're doing for fun. If you prove yourself here and in the future, you have a huge chance of actually signing a team, right?
And that's what happened to you guys, right? You guys came up into it when you were a pro player, and look where you landed.
We were just having fun in public games, honestly, and then we decided to make a team. And then once you find out who want to take it really serious and who's just playing for fun, then you like change in and out people.
And literally win $10,000s and thousands of dollars on top of that, right?
Yeah, if you get lucky with some circles, it can happen.
It's definitely not circle luck. There's a lot of skill involved in this, and ASE will be up there with 42 points for this final game of day 3. M19 going to be loving life, and these final standings are going to be so interesting because M19 probably had the best day out of any team we've seen so far. We've seen teams walk away with 2 wins in one day. We have never seen two teams walk, or a team walk away with two wins in one day and 2 second places in one day. I'm so lost, I can't even get the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, and they came out of the blue, right? We didn't even see them in the top 8 today. And I'm sure after this, they're probably going to be all the way at the top, or if not very, very close.
It's going to be so cool to see because, honestly, welcome to the lobby. They are going to be sat there probably borderline feeling insane because of how bad today was for them. It was a team that we praised so highly, and it just didn't work out for them. M19 Magic, M19 ASE. What a day it has been. And you can see it, right? Welcome to the lobby started on day 1. Then they had a break because they didn't have to play. And then they went into day 3 after having 2 wins on day 1 with nothing but poor placements. I think the best placement was 12th.
No, it wasn't even noticeable, right? They've gotten so few points today, and they were just dying in rotations, not really making anything work for them. So they will have to look back, maybe just not over-rotate. You can definitely over-rotate and lose a lot of people.
So ASE have now got, considering ASE weren't even, like, we weren't even really looking at them, they're now in 10th place with 126 points.
And look who's gone out, Kuma.
Oh, Kuma's dropped off the board. It's because they went out so early.
Yeah, 15 spot.
Our ferocious Bears didn't manage to get another kill on the board. They went out very early, but they'll surely come back and try and fight it away. And top 16 is where you want to be, and if you want to make it over towards the regional finals.
Yeah, and we can just see 16, 15, 95 points. Then after there's like 98, and it's so
M19
close.
are in second now, from not even being within the top 8 all the way to second in one day. The placement points higher than anyone else, 142 placement points. DM99 right at the top now. Avangar slipped down into 3rd place, but that's no bad sign for them. Rosq in 4th, Ultra 5th, FromHell, who we never... So honestly, M19 and FromHell, probably the 2 teams we never expected to be within the top 8, just based on what we saw previously. Now they're here and they're living the dream. Team Unique are in 7th, and welcome to the lobby. You've literally gained like 4 points today.
Probably a little bit more, but they barely gained any, right?
Well, no, because they had 131 when we started the day, I think.
Okay, I don't remember what we started on. But I just hope that they got more than 4 points in 4 games. Surely, James.
I'd love to say that was the case, mate, but there was multiple times they went out without giving a fire back to anyone. We'll have to look back at the VODs ourselves and look at exactly how those standings went. But we're done for another week, Larson. PUBG Mobile is done for another week, and if you guys have missed any of the action, if you want to watch back some of the VODs, if you want to see any information at all regarding the Club Open, head to clubopen.pubgmobile.com, where you can get all the information, you can see all the other regions, you can enjoy all the content that's been coming out of here, because this is no joke. $2.5 million on the line, and if you want to watch back some of the games, maybe you see, oh, they're talking about week 1, they're talking about week 2. How do we get involved and actually understand what happened at these parts? Maybe you want to watch back some of these VODs. Head over to our YouTube channel and drop that subscribe. We appreciate it massively. And I hope you guys have been enjoying all of the commentary. Me and Larson have had so much fun throughout all of this. So you've got any feedback, just hit us up on Twitter. It's @Larson on Twitch and @Banks Esports, all one word. And you can hit us up and give us any feedback you can. We've had a lot of nice feedback from the teams as well, which is quite cool to see. They've been enjoying it. We've been enjoying it. but we're done, mate. It's over. Guys, whatever you're doing throughout the rest of the week, have a fantastic time. We will see you next week for more Club Open 2019 action.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?